Welcome to South Harmon. Welcome to South Harmon. Hey, welcome to South Harmon. We glad you here today. Another AMA. Ask me anything. Super chat is cool if you wanna pay to play. Like and subscribe, that's what we really appreciate. Let me introduce you to the tear down king. Mike McNutted, ask your questions, he'll answer anything. ATM, you know Adam put them graphics on the screen. Glad you tapped in now, stay tapped in for the team. Hey, everything is posted. Go follow the socials. South Harmon FF tag us if we get noticed. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Another AMA. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today.
You shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead.
Yeah.
Hello, Michael.
Hi.
This is your wake-up call.
What's gonna happen?
I'm afraid that was a wrong answer.
Oh shit!
What's happening to my face?
Hey yo!
Burning me?
Your soul is mine.
Bad. We're back.
You know
We're back.
That one hits really close to home today, buddy.
You killed Deshaun Watson. Literally, you did. It's
Listen,
your fault.
I will say, I know it's not, but if it was, and if it could be, which highly possible, Mike. Is it bad if I say I don't feel that bad? I mean,
No, I bet you don't.
that part that's the least of my worries of actually from this weekend is like everything that seemingly can go wrong this season is just bound to happen. It feels like, man. Like
we give a lot of people shit when they victory lap injuries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think if there was any situation where we let it slide, just this one time, might be this one. This one.
You know what's crazy is like nowadays it's funny how like there's just so much that you can do to make something that looks close to real but it's not, right? You just put so there's like you're scrolling and you see they got Watson on the ground, right? Like they have this aerial view of him too. It's pretty sweet how they set this up, some kind of AI thing. And they got the whole place like rocking like it's WWE, like, you know, like they're all chanting for him to get the fuck out of there. And it's like,
Yep.
The crazy part is with him, like if it was anybody else, you would just know it's fake. There was like a part of, wait, is this shit real? Because he was, Mike, I know we talked about it on recaps, but he was historically awful this year. I know, listen, some of it's not his fault. Amari didn't want to be here. The offensive line was, I would put up there with the worst that you'll ever see. But he also didn't do anything to help his cause. But unfortunately for him, it doesn't matter. It's over now for the season. Dude, I can't imagine what's going to happen with that. We can kind of move on because that's just a point where no one really knows what the future is. It's not here for him, and it's all bad for the books. My question to you is, one, everybody out there, what the hell, what the fuck's going on? If you were not there last year, make sure you're there this year. The Sunday recap we do on Halloween is I'd put it as a fake-ass movie, you know. Last year we got Mike, you know, a little scared a couple times. This year we're going to see if we can really handle the bandwidth. We got a bunch of people from South Harmon squad hopping on. So if you fuck with South Harmon, you're gonna want to be there. It's gonna be weird. Speaking of weird, man, it's been Brandon Aiyuk, then it's been Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. I got Mike Evans and Godwin on a team that was kind of had a few players that were at the top carrying me. I mean, dude, we're in trouble now. Like it's been a rough season. Where are you at with all this? Like, does it feel worse than you've ever seen?
First off, everybody, welcome into Wednesday Night AMA. Right? How we doing out there? Adam, I made it back from Ohio. I almost died.
Happy birthday, for the record. Wait, what?
Literally.
Oh, jeez.
It was a close one. It was a close one.
Well, I'm glad I got Watson, not you.
Somewhere in fucking Indiana, there was a bad accident. Definitely probably a fatality or two. They had the whole interstate shut down, every lane for like 30 minutes. I didn't move a fucking inch.
Dang, that sucks, man.
We get past that or whatever. I pull off. I get some gas. I go to get back on. There's like an exit coming up. There's somebody in front of me doing like 70 miles an hour. Of course, I'm flying, doing like 80, whatever.
Right.
We pass a semi. I put my turn signal on. I get in the other lane because this asshole won't get over, whatever. I go flying by him, and it's like the minute I get right up next to his door, this dude decides he wants my lane too. And I look over, and that guy is a fraction of an inch from my fucking driver's side door, buddy. And
holy shit.
I'm off into the fucking shoulder, and my car's getting a little squirrely. My asshole was puckered about like that. I was like, whoo. Saw that whole life flash right before my eyes, man.
That's
man
like
made it to 38, died at his birthday. R.I.P.
Man, you know what's that would have. I'm glad that did not happen. That reminds me.
Close.
Well, here I am. Talking about the Halloween recap and the dead bodies that are in fantasy football. Mike, I'm glad you're good, buddy. How was?
Is it any coincidence though? You lit me on fire in that fucking intro.
I mean, what I was kind of more curious was until we got to this point where apparently they say things come in threes like that, Mike. So maybe you got one more coming this weekend.
Don't fucking say it.
I don't know. I said maybe. That's why I put it out there as a maybe. Who knows? What I was gonna say though is, did you have a good weekend? Did you get vacations are always needed regardless of whether they're long or short. You always need like a little bit of getaway time.
No, it was really shitty.
Okay.
One of the worst birthday weekends that
Dang.
I can remember. Like
I'm asking. I'm either not setting them up or asking the wrong questions. My apologies. Well,
no.
We're happy to have you back. If you don't like vacation,
I don't fuck around. I'm happy to be back though.
Good.
I'm happy to be back home. I'm happy to be in my house, in my safe space, in my comfort zone, and AMA, baby. And if I'm gonna drink, might as well drink in my house. Right?
Well, that too.
Made the best of a terrible situation. It was good. I got to hang out with Xbox, Johnny, Dan, however you want to fucking call him.
Danny, Johnny, Dan, Xbox, Johnny. He's got all the nicknames.
All the names, man. Brought me over some dope ass pizza. I don't remember where it was from, but it was fucking amazing.
Damn, I really wish you would have. I really wish you knew right now, Dan. I know you're not watching, so I'll have to hit you up later.
The box said like Lakewood, but I think he said it was like Angelo's or something like
Angelo's. That's exactly what it is. Angelo's is great
Angelo's?
pizza. Yeah.
There you go.
Great pizza.
From Lakewood, is that right?
Lakewood is exactly right. Look at you acting like this guy's acting like he doesn't know what the name is. You got the city and the box and the name. Way to go.
Friday night I had a dope ass Italian beef sandwich from a place called Au Jus there.
Yeah. Look at you up at Johnny's hooking you up. Okay, I respect that. Yeah. It wasn't that bad of a weekend. Wasn't that bad of a weekend.
Could have gone a hell of a lot better, but past is the past. We focus on moving forward. Like my man Kevin Gates says, turn me into a monster. All right. So we've been working out hard this week, just working off that frustration. Channel the energy into a good spot. Let's channel it into one hell of a fucking show because, like you alluded to, and it's on the goddamn thumbnail.
Yeah.
Apparently, I wasn't the only one having a bad weekend. All of our fantasy teams just got fucking wrecked.
Hey.
Just wrecked.
Listen, I want to. So in this BDGE league, right?
Fucking asshole.
What happened?
I don't look a day over 55.
Well, I mean,
this man, 55.
So I'm gonna tell you one thing. One thing is like when you get a comment like that, you read the name, you're like, yeah, it fits. So, Mike, I had a very top-heavy team that just lost Evans and Godwin. You're like, when Evans went down, I'm already like, fuck, you know. I mean, I don't want any of these guys to get hurt, especially the guys I have. And we play in so many leagues. You play in, I don't know, at least double, if not triple the leagues I'm in now. We've got exposure to everybody, even if we don't like them. So, but when I had those two go down, I'm like, dude, this can't be happening. I already had Fields, right, in that league. Like, I literally lost all three of my quarterbacks, Godwin and Evans, in a week. Bro, so get this, right? What's funny is now these offers that are coming in for, like, Derrick Henry, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Achane. It's like, I guess I don't need them anymore. Like, this is I should take three of your shitters for these guys. Like,
yeah, fuck you.
You know what, Mikey? I know I need some depth, right? But I probably don't need any stars either. Let me just hear. It's actually kind of funny. Like, I would be interested in moving, maybe even at a small discount. But we're talking, man, 3-for-1s where you're not even. Some of the guys are not even necessarily bodies, even in this type of industry where everybody's dying. Mike, it feels like to me right now, the reason I want to talk about this, I don't really want to, but we have to. I think the wide receiver position as a whole is something you and I have talked about for years. I'm not trying to victory lap here, okay? This is not a positive thing. But this year is got to be the worst that I've ever remembered. And honestly, I don't even think it's that close as receiver injuries go. Like,
yeah,
dude,
I don't think it's been this bad. Yeah,
it's been insane.
Yep. I mean, one that I didn't even put in the description, didn't make the thumbnail, that we're not even talking about. We don't even know what the DK Metcalf situation is. You know, week to week, that doesn't fucking sound appealing.
His sounded horrible right at the beginning, and then it's like there was so much time pass, which I'm talking about 3 days, right, where everybody else is getting hurt. DK will be fine. You know, that's like, it feels like that's what it is. What the heck's going on here?
We're probably not getting Puka back this week. Maybe we get Cooper Kupp. We don't really fucking know. But these are wide receiver injuries that happen, right? Mike Evans pulls a hamstring, and then it's like, oh, he may or may not play this week. And then all of a sudden you see Evans out there this week, and you're like, fuck yeah. And he goes out and he scores a touchdown. And you're like, that hammy was nothing. Next fucking time you see Mike Evans, he's laying on the ground holding that hamstring, and you go, fuck.
It's been a while since I pulled a hamstring. I haven't got up to top gear in quite some time, okay? I've never pulled a hamstring off contact, though. I've seen it done, but, like, you get some contact hamstrings, that's where I feel like we got to be. You're old. He's older, right?
Yeah.
But, man, that already didn't feel like a good sign of him returning soon. And then it's like, man, they're trying to fight in this game. I get it, but you lose Godwin in a meaningless game there. Like, bro.
Let me ask you about that. Was it actually that meaningless? I mean, there's a minute to go. They're driving. They're only down 10, right? Like, we've seen some shit that, you know, they score a touchdown there in the next 20 seconds on the next two plays, and all of a sudden you're an onside kick away from tying the fucking game up. I switched over to the fucking Cardinals game because I thought this shit was over, you know, about 2 Derrick Henry fucking runs before, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, oh shit, they're actually playing. So by the time I came back, it was all disappointment. It was like, oh, there's Chris Godwin. Fuck, and they might actually, nope. All right, they're cooked now. I don't know if it was that meaningless to, like, get that upset about. I mean, we've seen some far more egregious stuff, right? You and I, big J.K. Dobbins fans, you remember John Harbaugh playing him to keep his stupid fucking preseason streak alive and then getting his
look how happy he is now, you know? The guy's like he never did it. No, I mean, I'm not going to act like it's the most egregious thing that's ever happened. I'm not saying there isn't a range of outcomes that you can defend. My point is, Mike, you're playing the Ravens, who are on absolutely a fucking heater. They have dominated this game. You're talking about the absolute extreme of extremes. Not saying that you shouldn't try to go win the game, but like, if you were to put odds on that. Now, I know the reason they put odds is because the 0.1% or the 1% happens, okay? I get it. But, I mean, are you talking 0.0, I don't know, 0.1, 0.5? Like, what do you think there? I mean, you have a minute and change. You got to get a touchdown, an onside kick, and the field goal. I'm not saying the game that people should quit. I'm just saying that, like, sometimes you can look back on that and be like, damn, was it worth it? You can make a debate. I'm just saying from the standpoint of us who are pissed off because you had Godwin and you're like already fighting injuries. Damn it. The game didn't even mean nothing. So for
whatever it was worth at the time he got injured, ESPN's, you know how they have the probability of victory.
There you go. What is it, like 2%?
99.9% in favor of Baltimore at the 104 mark. The literal play that Chris Godwin got hurt, it was 99.9%. So
I mean, when I said point one, when I said point one, I did not see that chart. It was a lucky guess. It's also it's easy to see that was a small percent chance of winning. And the other thing too is, Mike, you already got Evans out. I'm not saying that you should be going back and saying you shouldn't try to win every game. I'm just saying that now, okay, you try to win that game, and now here we are. Like, you can't tell me Baker Mayfield in this offense is ready to go cook. I like McMillan. I like all this. I want to see somebody, step up. But, dude, it's going to be a totally different offense, a completely different offense in Tampa Bay. And Baker was looking good, bro.
We just lost the number one receiver on the season, too. I mean, Warp updated for the week. Shout out to Cooper on that one. Chris Godwin, wide receiver 1, in just a vanilla, start 10 kind of lineup league. So, Warp wide receiver number 1. Who the fuck would have guessed?
I mean, I would have.
Dunzo.
I would have guessed, not before the year, but early in the year. Unfortunately, now, Mike, what's crazy? I was listening to, I forget what I was listening to. It was like half the time I don't even know what I'm listening to because my daughter's screaming in the background. But it was something about like the injury stuff. So this dude finally got his way back. You think about his journey. This guy got his way back from that horrible knee injury.
ACL, MCL, which we also
multi-ligament knee injury.
Multi-ligament.
Everyone's talking MCL. I called it multi-ligament knee injury, my guy, 1,000 times. That's not an exaggeration. Worked his way back. We were off of him when people wanted to just stay with the name cachet, and then I don't know. Like I wasn't even the biggest buy-in at the point of the offseason. I was just like, this is too cheap, and the guy is still talented, and he's not that old. So
you and I disagreed about that one a little bit too. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you're a big Mike Evans guy, and I get Mike Evans had played well throughout this portions of this season too, but Chris Godwin had been carrying this offense. He'd been carrying fantasy teams. Absolutely. That move back to the slot bought me all the way back in, especially when you look at the splits last year and how they used him. Canales, imagine that, man. We give Canales all the credit for fixing the Bucs and fixing Baker Mayfield and making the Bucs kind of relevant again. He moves on to Carolina and they're a fucking dumpster fire of shit. And
I will say the saddest part though,
on from them and they get somebody else in there. The fucking offense is 10 times better, and they're like, yeah, we should put one of the best slot receivers back in the slot. Like, why wouldn't we?
You know what actually sucks though is that we can't really put the screws to Canales because that team is so absolutely terrible. It's like we can absolutely bully him, but it's like, yeah, it's the Panthers. Would be really nice if we went to like a great situation and just shit in the bed. Like, here we are, a year later. We called it wrong. Okay. Here's the question for me and for everybody else here, right? Like, we talk about having plans and contingency plans and not putting your picks in early and all. There's a point in which the bludgeoning takes away all comments. Like, what are we supposed to do? Some of these teams that you have, I'm sure, I have some too, where it's like, dude, these were very well built. They're not perfect, right? They're not like an absolute goon squad. You're already kind of facing that chin music, man. It's like getting you off the plate. It's coming hot and heavy. I'm sure people have 3, 4, 5 injuries of key players on some of their teams right now, some of which they'll get back, some of which they don't. What do you do right now? I mean, do you just kind of – it's a mess for everybody, but I'm curious what your thoughts are here.
You got to start making some uncomfortable moves, and you got to make them quick. Like the fastest reactions tend to be some of the best ones, right? So Let's take Chris Godwin and Brandon Aiyuk, for example. Now, Brandon Aiyuk is also – done for the season. His is a little bit worse in my opinion because it is a like we talked about with Godwin a couple years ago, multi-ligament knee injury. And
the only thing about Godwin's is he reminds me a lot that was basically the Dak injury, and so I mean I'm not saying that Aiyuk's is great. I'm saying
he's a little older.
hopeful, right?
Just a little bit. just a little bit old, but still, they were both very similar wide receivers in dynasty value. Now, production-wise, it was vastly different. Chris Godwin's been tearing it up. Brandon Aiyuk has been disappointing, but they were still valued very similarly. Adam, while I'm sitting there on Monday after whatever, waiting to go home, I am out there just spamming fucking offers left and right for Brandon Aiyuk. And then same thing, Tuesday morning with Chris Godwin. So like getting ahead of the curve and being proactive about it is probably the best, because as time goes on, I say this with any big like star player, right? Christian McCaffrey, if you would have traded him away week 1, week 2, week 3, you're getting a fuck ton more for Christian McCaffrey than what you're getting right now, even with the allure of him possibly coming back, right? Like as time goes on, the value goes down on these players. So like when people are, Rashee Rice is another one. We'll stick with the wide receivers. When people are like, oh, now's a perfect time to go buy low on Rashee Rice with his injury. No, it's not. It's never the perfect time to go buy an injured player really right after they get injured.
There's never a right time to say goodbye.
All those feels that people just had for what they were doing for their fucking team are still going to be there. Like, oh, yeah, I just saw it. You have to it's the opposite of absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? Like their absence in your fucking lineup makes you hate them more and more willing to part with them for cheaper. So if you can jump on this kind of shit immediately, which I was definitely trying to do on my contending teams, on the ones that were middle of the road, it's like this is a sign from God that this wasn't going to happen. So we just cash this one in,
And that's why we talk about making sure you haven't pushed.
To the bottom.
That's why we talk about making sure you haven't pushed the chips in on those ones.
Yes. But I'm talking about the ones
horrible,
where I look and it's like I don't have my 25 first, maybe not have my 26. I'm contending, like I'm in third place. I'm fighting for my fucking life. Like I got to make moves, man. I can't sit around and fuck around. So we'll see it on the trade show here probably, I would imagine. But like I put 2 Brandon Aiyuk deals in there like back to back. And like I'm surprised they got done, because if I'm on the other side, I tell that person when they're sending me Brandon Aiyuk, like, nah, man, you fuck off. I don't want him. I don't want to pay this for him. So I think like for Godwin, for Brandon Aiyuk, I mean, shit, if you can get fucking Terry McLaurin, Debo, Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman, Amari Cooper, Stefon Diggs, Devontae Adams, Deontay Johnson, shit, I might even get as crusty as like Romeo Dobbs if you really like, fuck it. I mean, he's on a really good offense. If I can do any of those dudes 1-for-1 on a contender that's backed into a corner, it's not even a question. Like it's done. Sorry,
now,
you were helping carry me. Are they going to be as good as what Chris Godwin was giving you? No. Like, no, they're not. They're not.
It's going to be hard to replace, as you just put it,
zero.
the one overall player in Warp. I want to put context to that, and it's okay if it's not. You play in a lot of best ball. Is that more so a principle for you, especially in best ball leagues, or is that still in lineup? You'll take them in the right situation too.
I think half of those trades that I got done for Godwin or Aiyuk, sending them away, were lineup leagues too.
Okay, I'm just. By the way, I'm not telling you right or wrong. I'm just trying to preface for people listening.
Yeah, like definitely more pertinent in best ball. You can say that, especially because in the lineup league, if you already kind of had some depth and you're like, I'm going to backfill here with this guy, I still want that like luxury depth. Like you don't have to panic as much. The other benefit of lineup is IR spots. You don't get that benefit in sleeper best ball leagues. Let me preface that because there are people who play in shitty MFL best ball leagues, which may or may not have IR spots. Sleeper does not. Yeah, in those best ball leagues, you can't afford those fucking zeros on your contending team. You just fucking can't. Like in best ball, I would say this though. Best ball actually makes it a little bit more interesting. It's easier to deal like away a Godwin or an Aiyuk in best ball because I just go back to those old principles, Adam. Like I'm gonna take one Godwin and I'm gonna send him for fucking 3 turd burgers that have the potential possibly to make a lineup. Like they don't even have to be a Stefon Diggs or an Adams to be a smash. Like Jesus, give me a fucking Darnell Mooney and some shit. Like, give me a Josh Downs and some shit. Give me, I don't know, Jerry Jeudy and Michael Wilson and Jacoby Myers. Like, it opens up all that kind of shit, right? Where you're like, I don't know, give me a couple of these dudes. Like, the old Moneyball from the movie, Billy Bean.
Love that.
What we're going to do, we're going to recreate them in the aggregate. Right? That's what you're going to do. You have that option in best ball. You don't have that option in lineup league. Like, so you got to be more pertinent with the 1-for-1. Maybe you down tier and get a a fucking draft pick, which you use to upgrade something else, whatever it is. Like, you got to be a lot more creative if you can't get the 1-for-1 done.
Sure.
In best ball, you can recreate Chris Godwin, Brandon Aiyuk in the aggregate.
Yeah, I think that's where format's a huge part. Now, listen, I think that's not to say that in lineup leagues that you just say, oh, well, I lost Godwin. Sucks. Like, well, you could do that. That'd be really dumb. I mean, sometimes there's not a deal to be had. Sometimes it's like you got to wait a week. Sometimes, Mike, and I'm sure you've been there, where the league is trying to, they think they got blood in the water, and it's like, all right, like, I'm gonna. It'd be better for me to hold right now and just go to the wire and do other things and wait until some time passes. To your point, though, I think in the large majority of leagues, Chris Godwin right now is the number one player in WARP. He just got hurt, and people that are in a position where they're not contending right now, and they can get their hands on a guy like Chris Godwin, who they just were watching tear it up. Oh, shit. Okay. You know, like, let me get that right now. Yeah, I want to get that right now. So I just think the reality is this. Chris Godwin will probably have a better name in the market in the offseason than he has in the years past, the last two especially. But do you know how many guys are going to come in this offseason? You know how many other young players that were fringy players that are going to be getting to the moon type rises? God forbid what's going to happen to the Bucs on the way the rest of the season if they're struggling, and that type of shit. Just, it's kind of funny how it can linger on some players' value in Dynasty when they weren't even out there. But let me just ask you then real quick. You got Chris Godwin in Dynasty. Let's talk lineup start 9 real fast. So lineup start 9, Mike, the pivot point for you. You kind of mentioned a bunch of names. I'm just going to throw out a couple more and see what you think here. You said Romeo Doubs, right? Was the kind of like one of the bottom lines.
There you go.
Let's talk about his teammate. I know you love this name thrown out there, Dontavian Wicks.
Not enough.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, but I had to throw it out there anyway because he's literally right next to him on Keep Trade Cut, which was
production doesn't match the hype on that one, unfortunately for him.
Yeah,
like this is also the weird thing about Wicks for you and I. You and I were so excited about Wicks last year
because we got him for free basically, and we're like, hell
we
yeah,
we got him for free. We kind of liked his profile coming out, and that was kind of like one of especially our best ball darling sleepers.
Yep.
And then at some point, like, I don't know, the production was good, and we were enjoying like sporadically him entering our lineups in best ball, and then like people started pushing him like, go buy Dontavian Wicks for a second. He's going to be the number one wide receiver here, and I'm like, I don't know about that, man.
I think you might appreciate. I think you might appreciate this one. So it reminds me, like my junior year in college, we'd sneak out like 45 minutes away to East Tennessee State, go to like some clubs and bars out there. And that was like our little kept secret, you know. We get away from go party. Mike, all of a sudden, like people started hearing what's going on, and it's kind of cool. First Thursday of senior year, I'm looking around. Lee's McCray people all over the place. Man, what the hell? Y'all ruined it. Y'all ruined Chrome. You ruined Dontavian Wicks. It's time to sell. You know, got too popular. It's like it's like your favorite song that you thought was really cool, and then it's on the radio every 2 seconds. Like, no.
And you know, I like advanced data. I like the analytics of everything. I like, you know, Dontavian Wicks, but there's some people who put far too much emphasis in shit like snap share and routes ran. Like, we haven't seen dudes out there just running wind sprints for no fucking reason, like all the time. Like, just that's all they do is they just go out there, like, they get the fucking ball. The quarterback doesn't give a shit. Like, they're not throwing the fucking football. Like,
I should have laid off. So, like, I didn't even think about this. This guy is getting buried, and people are like, I think they're on to you. Like, I think Mike has some good points, but what? Dontavian Wicks is dead.
I'm not saying he's dead, but Jesus fuck, like, come on, man. Like,
right.
Like people just want to, like, oh man, look at his fucking routes ran. Like, okay, cool, man. Like, I see this all the time, every single week. It frustrates the shit out of me. Give me something good. Like, give me like a target share. Give me a fucking catch rate. Like, that's the other thing too. We see dudes with like good target shares or ones that we're excited about. But they only catch like two out of the fucking 9 passes thrown their way.
You see what I'm saying? I even give you like a clean pivot point. Like, nah, this guy, not only is he dead, he's been dead. I'm just burying him further. Keep digging. Let's
At the end of the day, it's a fucking production thing. You're talking about a dude scoring 8 fantasy points per game, kind of like he did last year.
I was planning to do that by the way of names, but that is the point of this exercise. Is like you start getting to the next names. Okay, Darnell Mooney, like sounds gross, sounds really gross. I'm not saying you couldn't try to get more or something, but maybe you chase what's not necessarily the most fun, but some production. Like then you get to some names like Adonai Mitchell. Like what are we doing? I'm not saying, you know what I mean? Like that's worse than a pick.
It is. I take the pick.
He doesn't have a quarterback. We probably ain't getting. I don't know what to. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching
the Mooney
it.
type. It doesn't have to specifically be Mooney, but
Douglas
let's talk
would be
the
similar type thing, right?
There you go. Douglas would kind of be something, in the similar boat. But the Mooney thing, like if you're going to do one of these down tiers, it's like give me Mooney in a third. People go, oh, the third, like that ain't enough, or whatever. I'm gonna take that third in the lineup, start 9. I'm gonna see if I can package it with some other shit, and it may not be a wide receiver upgrade, but maybe I get a running back upgrade. Like maybe I could buy a spot start from a quarterback because Jesus Christ, we got all these quarterback like injuries and dudes in and out, and the waiver wire is hot. Like that third becomes pretty fucking valuable sometimes when you're like, damn, Joe Flacco is starting this week,
Dude,
and when Joe's in there, he's gonna fucking sling the thing. Let me put fucking Joe in the super flex. Like, dude, those are league winning moves sometimes when you get to nut cutting time. So yeah, the third. I mean, people overlook that shit even in a start 9, which I get. Like they're not that important, but shit, if it helps me get like 1 week, 1 dub, it's fucking worth it. And then I just put Darnell Mooney in my flex or whatever. Like it's not Chris Godwin, but shit, he might give me 12, 14 points.
Yeah, I think you talk about all this attrition. Like I'm gonna try to do. You talk about advanced analytics. I'm not really the person to try to put the study together, but I'm gonna try. I'm so curious. I can't help but wonder like how bad this is right now relative to other years. I feel like we're gonna end up looking at it if I was able to find all the data, and I don't think it's like egregiously worse. I think we always have a lot of injuries. But I do think it's a little bit worse. I'm just curious to see how much. But to your point, Mike, you know what a third can do in this type of – if this is continuing to happen, you know what that third is worth?
A lot.
Well, because everybody's team is probably down on average, let's say. I'm sure there's somebody out there that hasn't had an injury. Fuck you, okay? I don't even care. You could be a great person. Fuck you, okay? You need a little bit of the hate sometimes. But on average, 2 to 3. They're already down. Like that means in their flex is probably somebody extremely suboptimal, and you can get a 3rd round pick transaction to give you, I think at least that type of replacement value, maybe even better, maybe even a spot start for a few weeks, a Chuba Hubbard at the moment for the back half of the year, if you will. Like
there you go.
Yeah. Chuba. So I would say. If you're feeling like it's really gross and that's the best option you got, you can wait. But if you think it's good, make sure you get that little extra cherry on top. Okay, Mike. Let me ask you this now. DK Metcalf, Mike Evans, a lot of these guys that are supposed to be coming back. You talked about Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and
not dead yet, but not helping us right now.
Every week that goes by, I get further and further from saying that again. I drafted CMC. He was supposed to play Monday, week 1. Now, I know he's an extreme case, but what the hell? You guys had to doubt the Madden curse. Speaking of me and you just having a little bit of I have too much ties. Things I do end up messing up actual people's lives. When you guys said that, put that in ether, it's like, oh no. What are you thinking? What's your plan with those type of players? Are you at this point when there's hopium around the fact that they're coming back, their value is starting to get closer to that real old value? Obviously, it's probably not going to be, 1 for 1, but we're talking pretty close, 90, 95%, right? And people start really, I think, hitting lines up now because they're desperate as hell for people too, right? Everybody needs bodies, so. Yep. What are you doing there? Are you trying to de-risk? Are you waiting for them to play? Is it kind of case by case, or how are you navigating that? I feel like it's a really good conversation that we normally don't cover a lot.
those guys are the ones that I'm interested in buying, like right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I didn't have to. One, if I, for example, if I got a contending team, Adam, let's say you and I are both kind of competing, but you just lost Chris Godwin, you're already down, Cooper Kupp, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Like we're kind of. I may have been maintaining, right? But I didn't have to carry these last few weeks without Cooper Kupp like you did. Like I didn't have to fuck.
Yeah.
Like he's not helping doing shit, right?
Yep.
And now maybe you're at the point where you're like, fuck it, man. Like if I can get close to a Cooper Kupp's OG value when the season first started, I'm more willing. Like I want to de-risk myself. And I get it. That's a smart play for you too. But it's also a smart play for me who didn't have to carry all that risk to buy now, like on his way back. Because this is a dude, like when he's in there, WAR per game wise, can be an elite difference maker. Right, so
first
listen,
upper left quadrant, buddy. You know it. You know.
I'm probably not giving you the first, right? Like the first asking price, but I'm like, hey, I got this kind of good second I've been holding on here. How about toss you something else? Like, yeah, can I toss you something else?
I've been waiting for this 201 to finally get
pay off.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's not scoring me any points now, but I kind of want to be that dude, especially on a contender, if I'm still in a decent enough spot and I've been maintaining. Mm-hmm. Like the Cooper Kupp kind of like buy, the Puka Nacua buy right now, those could be like the league winners for you. Like, for example, we just saw it. Now it's at a different time frame, but A.J. Brown, right? A.J. Brown comes out week 1, smashes, fucking hurt, gone for weeks. Mm-hmm. Now A.J. Brown comes back. Like there was a lot of like little panic in there, and there's probably some panic sells or whatever. And A.J. Brown's back, and you go look at it, and WAR per game still number 1 fucking player in WAR per game. Like A.J. Brown's right back out there.
He's on. Don't sell it short either. He's in that other world. He's in that other world area, like alien type bitch.
He is right. So these are the kind of guys. Like, yeah, I'm interested in buying now because I don't think the price is full boat.
So what does that look like? I guess let's talk about this.
Cooper Kupp, let's say though, if Cooper Kupp came out this week, Adam, like say you had him,
15
you just had
targets.
you just had a Godwin injury. Like you're sitting here and you're kind of like, oh shit, like I'm like borderline making the playoffs in this lineup league. I don't know what the fuck's really happening. I'm down Godwin. I'm fucking down Deshaun Watson, my third quarterback. I got a lot of. Can I get off Cooper Kupp? But say you and I don't get a deal done this week. Cooper Kupp comes back. He's healthy this week, and like you said, 15 targets, 8 catches, 102 yards, and a touchdown. The price of the brick just went right back to where it should have fucking been. Right, immediately. I'm not getting a discount next week from you. I'm not. Like, fuck you. Fuck you.
No,
I'll write out Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp might save my fucking season.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that conversation is like, I don't know. I guess, Mike, I really truly believe I'm about as abnormal as a human being as possible. Like, I just believe that about myself. I see how other people carry and conduct themselves, and I'm like, I'm either a piece of shit or a goofball, But Mike, I find out a lot of times though, maybe I'm not quite as bad as I think. Like I end up somehow, for the most part, being a lot more even keel on that type of stuff than most. It's like, well, yeah. So you thought when he sat that whole time that he lost all his football skills? Like, I don't. You're 100% correct in the way that it will be taken, in the way in which that it will be reacted to, and that his market will carry because of that. But Mike, it's like, okay, so you're telling me if Cooper Kupp comes back with no Puka Nacua, he might go out there and have 15, 20 targets. And he might have north of 10 catches, even if he's banged up a little bit, and 105 yards. And then I just find it funny at that point, like people will react so strongly, like, oh my God, he's back. Because you're right, they will. So to that point, what would you be doing? Like, for me, I think it actually is a conversation where there's not really a right or wrong. I think it's kind of situational. I think it's a feel thing. But, for example, like you talked about it from both lenses. If you were able to kind of not have to sit there and hold Cooper Kupp for the last 5 weeks, like that's 5 weeks doesn't sound like a lot. That's a long time in this game with this many injuries, Yes, you're like, in every week you're like, all right, well, Cooper Kupp will be back this week. Sunday, no, he won't. And supposedly this week, and it's like strong, like he's gonna be available. Don't, please, whatever you do, make him available. Don't do this to me. I only have like 1 or 2 shares, and I'm just like, I can't afford it. Like, don't. So to me, the conversation, to your point, is 100% correct. However, this year actually, if you were going to make a case to go almost more aggressive and fuck the injury risk that he carries, it would be now, because it is such a bludgeon field, and he probably can be such a hammer relative to the others. I'm not saying you shouldn't value him highly anyway, but for me, part of the reason I would consider getting out if it's close to old market value is, all right, I had him hurt. I know he could go out there and have 3 weeks again of 15, 20 targets, heavy usage, and gimp off the field. And that's not necessarily his fault. He's been awesome when he's on the field, but there is that type of risk, and right now I might be a little bit more. I could see it both ways. I could see being more aggressive, like fuck it, to get a win above replacement, probably a lot easier. But also, it's like, damn, can I afford to? Do I really want to have a potential another guy go out? So I think that's a good discussion point. I'm curious to see, like, in the chat right now. In redraft, I feel like Cooper Kupp is the easiest target you've ever seen. I feel like in Dynasty, a lot of people are just so the age thing, buddy. It just they aren't really willing to do it. So what are you doing in Dynasty right now for Cooper Kupp? Like what's a reasonable ask or starting place with Cooper Kupp? Let's kind of walk through this, spitball this.
I mean, a good second and a plus, like in all reality, because he can still be that game changer for you.
Sure.
Here's the thing about age and injuries that I always find interesting. You're never injury prone or have injury risk until you get fucking injured, right? Like everybody, we didn't give Brandon Aiyuk the injury prone label. Goes out, tears his ACL, MCL, right? Like just gone. Chris Godwin is a dude who had an injury like that, but the last couple of years we didn't label him as injury prone. He goes out and he snaps his fucking ankle on a freak play. Like, here's the thing, man. It's a fucking NFL. It's a football game that's violent. Players are going to get injured. So I think in the grand scheme of things, we want to like label players as more of an injury risk, or, you know, we try to do way too much analysis on it. And the fact is, like, either you get hurt or you don't get hurt, and we can't really predict it at all. Like, we really can't. Now some things, I'm not going to fucking throw everybody under the bus here who does really good injury work, but in the same facts, like, there are some injuries that lend you to be a little bit more injury prone the following season, right? Like, you tear your ACL, you're more liable to pull a hamstring and miss some time the following year. Like, that shit happens. But T. Higgins, A.J. Brown, we love them to death when they're out there playing. Those are dudes that are in and out of your lineup, right? Nico Collins wasn't that kind of guy for us. Like, we were fully buying into Nico Collins. Boom, gone for 4 weeks, just out of nowhere on a hamstring. Mike Evans, Mr. fucking consistent throughout his entire time. Even goes out, plays through a tweaked hammy, fucks it up more. Now we're going to miss Mike Evans for a while. So, like, these injury things are always kind of a fluke. So I think if I just take away, this is my personal opinion. I'm not saying everybody's got to do it. Everybody's got to manage their own situation, their own tolerance. But if I'm going to do it, man, you know, fucking torpedoes be damned. Let's just fucking, let's go, man. On Cooper Kupp, I know he's advanced in the age department and we've seen some injuries from him. But listen, I'm going to roll the fucking dice and I'm going to play for this year. And I think if I can get a good deal that doesn't involve me sending a first for him, that's something I want to do in Dynasty. Like, it is something I want to do if I'm in a contender. Obviously, if you're a middle-of-the-road or rebuilder, don't be going out and buying fuck Cooper Kupp. Like, that's a bad process play in general. Like, we don't buy old receivers, you know, in those kind of teams for that kind of reason. Same reason you don't buy old running backs, because they'll be here one day, they'll be gone tomorrow. Like, that shit always happens. But Adam, I'm a little bit more risk adverse when it comes to competing at this point in the season, and I'm a little bit more age agnostic, let's say that, when it comes to this time of the season on those contending teams.
Sure.
Like, you're shooting for that home run.
The investment cost too is worth. I think the investment cost for Cooper Kupp, obviously it's market wise. It maybe some leagues he's not really attainable, right? But I think for what most often you're going to be able to get him for, like that's the type of risk you should be taking on a contender. I'm not telling you shouldn't take any risk with him. I'm not telling you shouldn't try to go get him on your contending teams and that he couldn't end up being a smash. He absolutely could. But I mean, listen, I hear your point, but I'm not going to. One, I'm not an injury guy. I personally can't predict injuries, but I would. There's a lot of tools out there and injury history that says that his is not the same as some of the other guys. That said, though, I'm not telling you shouldn't go. I'm not trying to even make the point that you shouldn't go try to go win a chip. These are the type of players, Mike. When you look back at, I think, a lot of the years in Dynasty, currently until the landscape changes on this, and I'm not sure that it ever really will entirely. I think we'll start to see, I believe, Mike, a guy like Cooper Kupp, the problem with him, and we know this from both sides, for a contender, he should be worth the first. But the reason he's not is why. Man, if you're a rebuilder, you carrying Cooper Kupp right now? Brother, you want to talk about risk. Whew. Whatever Cooper Kupp has to miss another game, your risk is far higher, buddy. You carrying Cooper Kupp on that team. So if you've kind of gotten back to this point, you can't really. I shouldn't say you can't. It would be, I think, not wise to let him continue to play games on your team as a rebuilder, right? And that kind of always has met this middle ground of contending wise. He's probably worth a first, even if he's not a long-term play, because he's so dominant. Devontae Adams was this way in the past. You look back, I mean, Stefon Diggs right now, Chris Godwin was this way before the injury. There's so many players. It's like the production value that they have. Fuck the age, dude. Even if there was, like, let's say there was significantly higher risk with Cooper Kupp. I think it is higher, but I don't think it's significantly higher. Like, who cares? You're trying to go win a title, and you probably right now are in a position where this is where I was talking about. I'm kind of curious in lineup leagues what happens. Dude, imagine there's probably some goon squads. You and I have some where it's like they can't be touched. They've got 4 or 5 injuries, and it don't matter. They got draft capital. They got players. Like, I bet you some leagues have shifted quite a bit from those teams that were sitting fucking pretty and sitting up there 101, no worries. If that's the case, Mike, you talk about your third and kind of fighting for your life. You go send that second you've been sitting on for Cooper Kupp, boom. All of a sudden, dude, I know injuries can happen. I know things could change in the past, but your future right now is right now. That's it. Your future is right now. So I think sometimes too, I definitely have been guilty of this, and I'm curious what people think. I try not to be anymore. Like, if it's time to seize the moment, you got to go seize it, because you never know what can be up for you the following year. You know, you want to play the future game and all that. We get it. We want to be smart. But if you got a chance to go win it sometimes, Mike, and a deal like that sit in your face, you go get it, man.
Well, one of the things I'll always say about Cooper Kupp is, listen, let's say you pay a second and some piece for Cooper Kupp, right? And he plays this week, Adam, and he goes out and he gets you fucking 15 targets and scores you 20 fantasy points. And then you find out after the game he tweaked something, and now he's going to miss another couple weeks or whatever the fuck it is.
Sure.
Was it worth it to get that fucking dub? Because he's probably be pretty close to like a top warp option on the week. Like, how much is a win, like a guaranteed win for you in fantasy?
Yeah.
And when you look at the Rams too, like no Puka Nacua, it's Matt Stafford, it's a beat up team, like the whole thing. But you got fucking Tutu Atwell, who's ass cheeks, getting 9 targets. You got Tyler Johnson, who we left for dead years ago and wrote him off. Like, he's never been shit ever, except for like maybe a couple Brady moments back in Tampa Bay, getting 7 targets and having games. We saw dudes like Demarcus Robinson have fucking games and like be a hot waiver wire ad last year. You know, like
Salt with the super chat. Happy birthday, Mike.
Oh, thanks, Salt. Even though you called me 55, go fuck yourself.
I think that was him throwing salt in the wound. I love that.
We see absolute fucking turd burgers out here getting targets and getting run in this McVay offense with Matt Stafford. Like, if you're going to give me the certainty of Cooper Kupp at least playing for one fucking game, I'm going to take the likelihood odds that, listen, I got to pay a second and something. I'm probably getting a dub this week by putting Cooper Kupp in my fucking lineup, like a healthy Cooper Kupp. Like, sure. I'm probably taking a dub, and I think that might actually be worth a second in its own, because we're only a handful of weeks away from the fucking playoffs. Like, this is, every victory becomes that much more amplified, right? Now, it keeps you from the bottom, and it puts you that much in a better position towards the top.
For sure. Now, I will say though, you got some big ass hands then, because you're not wrong, but it is at this current rate we're going, we are crawling our way to the fucking playoffs, buddy. It is. Dude, you think about this though, Mike. We used to have it week 14, right? So we got 7 weeks in the books. So we're halfway, except for
Or like a Bon Jovi song.
Except for it don't start till week 15. The
We're halfway there.
You know what I really I don't know. The week 14 I don't want to go down a tangent. The week 14 buys, just stop it. What do we got to do to fix that? I know you're talking about like flex games. You're not wrong. I'm not telling you that there's a corrective action for this. I'm bitching, okay? Let me have my little Why? And then I don't know if he's taking a look some of the teams that are incredibly meaningful for fantasy purposes for week 14 this year. It's like it reminds me so much of that was it 2021 year when Jonathan Taylor was a absolute animal. Yeah, just you're limping in there. You don't have Jonathan Taylor. What are we doing? Someone's trying to make the playoffs. Playoffs.
So week 14, we're going to lose Jayden Daniels, and Terry McLaurin, and Brian Robinson. We're losing Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. Welcome back, Mark Andrews, by the way. It's nice to see you again. God, It feels good for you to actually be back and doing something.
Well,
people back off the ledge just a little bit. I mean, Chris Godwin, Brandon Aiyuk, DK Metcalf, all these fucking injuries. But hey, they all died, so Mark Andrews could fly. Let's go. Welcome back.
What's funny is like I was doing rankings, and it feels like people are not. It's one of two things. They're just kind of willing to say that Mark Andrews, even though he had 4 targets, and looked pretty good, and I think he's looking like he's starting to get a little bit of a pep back in his step. I'm not saying he's back to what he was, but you can see that he's starting to come closer to that form, and it's on its way. Mm-hmm. Or if they're just blind to the fact that Dalton Kincaid has got new mouths to feed in the offense and hasn't done shit. It's like he's 5 spots ahead of Mark Andrews, and for what? For what? Dude, they have what was it? They didn't even know if it was him or Dawson Knox to score the touchdown. It wasn't him. I mean,
it confuses me every time I watch a game too, because one wears 86, the other one wears 88, and you can't always tell the 6 between the 8s, and they're both white dudes out there who don't look that good anyways playing tight end. Oh, shots fired right there. So,
Mike had himself a weekend, boy. He is ready and at it. I love this type of energy. I love this, though, to the point, kind of more you better start planning. Dude, I was looking at that. Let's talk about, instead of putting that on the screen, I'll get J-Day up here. Because that's another thing. Quietly, he also, the chosen one, missed some time. At least like him and Malik, it's not significant injuries, but the rib, week to week, as we got it. So, I mean, listen, shit's going to happen, and this year it's definitely going to happen. So, I just hope that he's back soon. We need him, buddy. We need everybody back that's been a difference maker, because every position feels like it's thin right now. Regardless of, we all know tight end's dead, but
yeah, Baker right now QB1 in A-Warp. Obviously, that's probably going to take a massive dump here.
That's the other thing about like a lot of those receiver
injuries kill the quarterbacks.
I was just going to say, you just took the words out of my mouth, dude. Let's like with a lot of these running backs, right? It's like, okay, Bill Belichick, hoodie, next man up. Like, all right, let's go. Bid the entire $3 I have on my fab because I spent it all. But like the problem with this is like it's a layered effect. So there's a few people I actually want to talk about with that. It's like a ripple effect, right?
Butterfly Effect. I just watched that movie, by the way.
Did you?
It was on it was on
it's
Netflix
actually
or some shit.
It's actually I used to
picture movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I fuck with that movie hard.
It's fun. Sometimes we are too alike. I have a feeling that's not a movie that everybody like that we would love to aspire to be friends with or loves, but I'm with you. I was just about to say I think it's a very underrated movie. So
underrated
come at
shit.
me. Come at me.
Flick,
I'm ready.
Fuck if you don't like it or not. I love it.
Yeah, I was with you on that. But speaking of the butterfly effect, because
right?
It is though, because okay, you have a combination of things that are at stake here. Where, like, okay, if Evans went down, I think that Baker might have had a little bit less of a ceiling just with Evans, but he still would have been fine, right? I think they were playing the Ravens. The Ravens they're very good and they're hot right now. Also, they had an injury, big injury, Marlon Humphrey, but I think that while the offense wasn't clicking on all cylinders once Evans left, that would have fixed itself. But you take both those guys away, dude. It's for a guy that does not run the football, right? Listen, man, I've been sitting over here without Baker, kind of like wishing that I had him back. Silently, kind of like, damn it, hating, whatever. I don't wish this on him. Like, damn, bruh. Like, now you got to get Jalen McMillan as your Cade Otton. Cade Otton had 100 yards the other day, by the way. I don't know if he's sneaky in this butterfly effect of the other way, where like David Njoku, Mike. Like, all of a sudden, fucking, there's nothing there, and they might have someone that can throw the football. I don't know if that's wise to buy in, but if you had them, it's a good thing. So I think
some people have
labeled
me the tight end whisperer.
The whisperer? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just say that for whatever it's worth. I'm not even.
Will you whisper
saying
to me?
I've had some massive hits with Sam Laporta and Tucker Kraft and Trey McBride and. Yeah. I've had some hits, okay? Let's just say that. I've had some. I'm not saying it's true. It's not true.
Nothing but
I see nothing but the motherfucking hits. I've seen the Cade Otton thing, right? Like let me be as blunt as humanly fucking possible on this one. I know he had 100 yards, and you can tell me whatever the fuck you want.
You leave him alone.
I don't fucking see it with Cade Otton, man. Like, you want to buy Cade Otton, fucking take him off my hands, man. I give zero fucks. Zero fucks. I think in the grand scheme of things, in a couple years, he won't even be the fucking tight end in Tampa Bay. It'll be like some fucking dude named like Payne Durham.
I'm sure that it will. However, no, I'm not. Please don't take this, just banter as me saying to go buy Cade Otton. I talked about him entirely too long on a video this summer because, speaking of running routes, you were just saying today, sometimes guys are just running routes, they're just getting basically wind sprints in. Cade Otton played an alarmingly higher percentage of snaps than any tight end last year, Mike. It was like 96%. That motherfucker was running, blocking, clapping, getting in and out of the huddle, but doing nothing else, buddy. I mean, doing fucking nothing else.
Man had that OG Daniel Bellinger stat line. How's he doing this year, too, by the way?
Damn, Mike's just like, you're in the grave, and let me get you out real quick. Let's get you too, But, no, I think Cade Otton's not a target, but I'm just curious, like, there's a few people I want to talk about today in general with you. I think when we get to this point, I'll say I may not agree with you, but we're kind of in like I don't know if I want to go quite that far. We're in desperation season. Like, listen, if you have a reasoning, even if it's a little goofy, Dontavian Wicks, Mike will fight you. I'm not going to love it, but at the end of the day, you're out here trying to do what you can. You are out here short, and you're trying to put food on the table, So I'm not going to judge you. I might talk shit behind your back. I might talk shit to your face, but I think that's the type of moves you got to make sometimes, is where, like I remember this was years ago now. You made some trades in best ball just to kind of prove a point where I think you knowingly left some meat on the bone, but It's like, here, I'm going to put these deals on Twitter where without context, I'm going to get every bit of their foot in my ass. I don't care, because guess what's going to happen?
Some people call it the minivan.
It's going to be ass. It's going to be ass eating season when I put the foot up their ass when I win this league, because of this trade. And,
which I did 2 years in a row, by the way, in that same league.
I do remember. See, the thing about Mike I really love is just when I'm getting ready to really give him the whole pedestal. I'm jumping up there. Fuck that. I don't need your fucking permission. Hell out of here. I won that league, dude. It's but that's. Sometimes the moves that don't feel the sexiest are, in fact, the right moves to make. I think the problem is you always want to be careful of giving up too much extra in future just to win now if you don't have to. I think that's kind of my biggest thing, is not necessarily I'm okay doing it, but I don't want to just like bleed value away, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to just give value away for no fucking reason.
You don't want to be willy-nilly with it. You need a purpose to it, right?
Right.
There needs to be some George W. Bush strategery involved here.
I'll tell you one thing, boy. We are on a roll. I'll just mute my mic. Mike is like killing the elections, the past election. Let's go. What do you think though? Give me some players right now for you. Because obviously we're all in the same damn crazy game. sneakily looking at, trying to acquire more intrigued by a lot or a little than you were last week? Like, just give me 2 or 3 of the names. There's a couple for me I want to mention, but I'm curious who you got or what you're looking at.
One of the craziest things, and I pulled off a couple deals for this dude this week, is why are we still disrespecting Stefon Diggs at this point?
I mean, I don't think it's disrespect. I think that people are just not fucking. There's no brain. Like, I don't understand what you. That's what he's a perfect example of what I'm talking about, Mike, with Cooper Kupp. Like, what? Why?
What are we?
Why is he so cheap?
Wrong?
Right. Why is he so cheap?
For the production he's given you. Like, okay, so he was giving you solid production even when Nico Collins was there, right?
Yeah.
Nico Collins goes out, production arguably stays the same or gets better. Like, it really does, and we still treat him like he's like a second round pick at best.
Well, I think
I talk about going and buying Cooper Kupp. Jesus Christ, I will pay more for Stefon Diggs, not because I think he's a bigger game changer, but because he's actually doing it, and there's no like injury. Right? There's no like, I don't have to talk with Adam about what happens if he comes out and he tweaks something, he's out again. The motherfucker's out there healthy, like no concerns right now, balling and giving you good production, and people are like, it's fucking Diggs. Like, whatever. I don't care.
I mean, Mike, have you seen all the stuff off the field he's doing? I mean, come on. This is like Deshaun Watson 2.0. He's just waiting for a bad thing to happen. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Okay, I can attest. I'm with you. I can vouch. I'll go to court with you and tell you this. I saw it. I was a witness. The only thing is I've seen Diggs, though. I think Diggs' market is very league dependent. I talked about this the last time I did Money Moves. I wish I didn't have to admit how many hours I'm putting into this Halloween recap, buddy. But that's gonna be what I'm doing this week. Next week I'm gonna have probably not enough people to talk about for Money Moves. But the reason I say that is with him, it's like, okay, I saw some people right after the trade, like they're trading. I'm talking about just bleeding value a minute ago. First in 2 seconds, first in a second, and whatever. My biggest thing was like, okay, I get that he was great with Nico out there. And even if you're saying he's going to take a leap forward without Nico, like, what does that even look like? He's already balling out of control. Why? There's no reason to pay any extra. He's already that with or without Nico. He's a dog. I just don't know at a certain point. Like, to me, those players, I talk about will this change in the future? Probably the dynamics of rebuilders and contenders, for the most part, will keep it a little bit harder to ever get to that pushing point. Those players that are complete game changers and needle movers in Dynasty and production, I think they really need to be commanding the first. The problem is you're in a rebuild, you don't want to get stuck with them, and do you have the balls to hold them? Probably not,
Right. There's some other guys out there that, you and I have been high on in the past that I have no idea why people still devalue them. The DK injury does throw a little bit on there, but we, again, saw DK have another big game when DK's out there playing. That's a dude that you want on a team. T. Higgins, the disrespect still continues, even with him. I don't get it. When he moves on next year and he's Drake May's number 1 wide receiver, paired up, across the field from Ted McMillan, you guys are going to want all this fucking Patriots offense, and I'll be the guy who'll be like, I fucking tried to tell you, but nobody listened. It's okay. It's fine. Like, those are the bigger name ones. Running backs are so fucking plentiful, Adam. I mean, we continue with Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara just being old crusties that just are dominating.
I was actually going to ask you.
But here's one you and I talked about last week. Yep. We talked about him. Kareem Hunt, for fuck's sake. For fuck's sake, please do yourself a favor and fucking buy Kareem Hunt. He looks fucking good and he's getting these touches. It was like this week, oh, look, Clyde Edwards-Helaire might be up and playing. Nah. Nah. Who?
Don't. We brought into that
Kareem
for how
Hunt?
long? Why are we doing this? Like, just let the
Carson Steele? Never heard of her. It's Kareem Hunt.
Well,
it's fucking Kareem Hunt. Jesus.
So yeah, Kareem Hunt, I mean, I saw some people asking about Pacheco too.
Welcome back, Aaron Jones, too. Like, Adam, I didn't even realize this.
Mike,
so I'm sitting in the
this was the quietest.
Airbnb. I didn't even know this motherfucker was going to play this week. And I'm sitting there with Johnny, and I'm like,
I knew he wasn't. He was he was
week.
week to week, and they literally said on like Thursday or Friday he could still miss a couple weeks.
Exactly. Then I just see out there Aaron Jones exploding for a touchdown run. By the way, Joe Mixon, too, like a full apology tour. I was sitting there talking to Johnny about that at the Airbnb. Like, listen, we got into it preseason about Joe Mixon. My only downfall was people drafting him in the 7th when I could get Derrick Henry in the 9th. But listen, man, if you pick Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley in your startup drafts this offseason, congratulations on winning your fucking league.
You him.
It's been real. You
Dude, well,
him.
I was giving Andrew shit. I remember, and like we do these redraft, like each weekly rankings, right? And I'm like, man, so you think he's just gonna come back off this fucking high ankle, which he didn't come back the last couple weeks off of? You had him ranked inside the top 20 last week, he didn't play, and he's just gonna be fine. Well, fuck me, right? I mean, dude, he's been 2017, Mike. 2017 running back class. Speaking of Kareem Hunt, dude, these motherfuckers, they got a special segment in the Halloween show. Let me just tell you, if you know, you know. Like 2020 class, 2023 class. I don't know. Maybe this 2025 class will come in, and I mean, buddy, these guys are performing. The one guy I wanted to ask you about though, Alvin Kamara quietly has not been playing very good fantasy football for us anymore. I think the watching of his actual gameplay has not been the most fun for people, but his fantasy production has been plenty of fun if you're into that. I think it's been 3 of the last 4 weeks. It's been a little bit concerning. Go ahead.
You know what the problem is?
Well,
the quarterback.
Of course. And last time, well, it used to be that it was a really good quarterback named Drew Brees. Now let's not do that. But
yeah. No, here's the thing. I mean, we do this. Fizzle's in the chat too, and he fucking hates the guy. I get it. He's got his moments. Spencer fucking Rattler, Jake
Let go of the voodoo doll.
Jameis Winston, like whoever the fuck it is, they are not, period, as good of a quarterback as Derek Carr is. Derek Carr is a decent enough starter in the fucking league, period. Mm-hmm. And Derek Carr being on the field helps Alvin Kamara, helps the whole offense. Now, they've lost some pieces. Shaheed out, Chris Olave with the concussion. The team has taken a massive fucking downturn since beating the shit out of Dallas, which, you know, at the time we were like, hey, an impressive win. And then you see Dallas every single week since then, and you're like, not that impressive. No one gives a fuck.
You're no like, one really gives a fuck.
But still, Derek Carr is a good enough quarterback that knows where his bread is.
Shots, dude. This is a fun night, boy.
Derek Carr is a good enough quarterback to know to get the fucking ball to Alvin Kamara consistently. So when he's back, Alvin Kamara, like I got full faith that Alvin Kamara will be back to that league winner. Now, he's still riding high off of everything he did early in the season. But you're right. The last couple of weeks have not been that great, fantasy production-wise.
Yeah.
They've been okay. They haven't killed you, but they haven't been carrying your team like they were earlier.
Listen, I've been trying to get these up, but, dude, I'm out here trying to make sure the stream doesn't die. We're running computers heavy over here. Let's just say this basement is hot as shit, okay?
Cooking.
Yeah, but David Njoku, Mike, so I'm – some of my leagues, I'm like, man – I have too many tight ends. Like, even when I know I have too many tight ends and I'm cutting them, like I'm like, why do I have 2 in this league? You hate that. So I kept David Njoku, and I'm like, this just feels awful. Like, Cleveland's terrible. Watson doesn't like to look his way. But the Amari Cooper trade was in the back of my mind, like, sneaky, you know, like. All right. When I say sneaky, I mean I meant sneaky, not 14 targets. I'm not expecting this to be a weekly occurrence. However, we saw in the back half of last year that he got a pretty high number of targets. I still don't care about the tight end position as a whole. I'm not telling you to go pay out the nose for him. I'm kind of curious if that's even a thing. I doubt it. But what do you think of him? Is he just like all the rest, or are you a little more interested in him than some of the other tight ends?
I'd like to be more interested with him, but I just don't know how this offense is going to function now.
Yeah, we don't. None of us do. Oh, I'm out here missing super chats and shit.
I'm not saying Watson's fucking anything good too, but the offensive line has been a problem. Hopefully, you guys are going to shore that up too. But like Jameis definitely is. Listen, man, you guys say whatever the fuck you want. Sometimes looks are deceiving. All right, Jameis is pretty fucking unathletic. Like I think on the scale of athleticism. I watched this dude go through drills. All right, I might be just as athletic, if not more athletic, than Jameis Winston.
The most athletic thing he is, I would say, the most athletic trait he has is his ability to kind of just be that guy in the locker room. He can talk well. You know, he's a.
And he W's. I love Jameis too. Like he's a funny dude.
Yeah.
He's a good fucking talker. I love Jameis, but like I am a little bit worried with Jameis out there this week. Like, is he gonna die? This offensive line. You could also see him just get absolutely smoked. But Njoku, I mean, what the fuck else you got on this offense? I see somebody in there asked about Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, buddy, I'll tell you. So Andrew was on last day, man. You weren't here. I was begging to. I really wanted to talk with you about this specifically because it's funny. I know the Browns beat reporter here, Zach Jackson. He went to a rival school, and I kind of love every now and again. I don't talk with him much, but every now and again I see like an article or some kind of a take he has, and I'm like, where'd you get that sweet nugget? And he's, I just whatever he saw in practice or something light. But he had there was a lot of buzz in the offseason about Cedric Tillman. You know, right before the Jerry Jeudy trade, and even after, it's like he was going to be the 2. Now he's going to definitely be the 3. They still like him, trust him. Sure they do. They did that with fucking David Bell. They did that with fucking Austin Schwartz. They like them all. I mean, okay. I have a couple shares of Cedric Tillman that I didn't cut. Like I cut a lot of Cedric Tillman, to tell you the truth, already. But he was getting, because there's no one else out there, I guess. He was running a lot of routes. I don't think he's a best ball dart at best, I think. If you're relying on him in lineup, I think he'd probably just, I mean, you're in a spot and you're desperate, I get it, but like I wouldn't, I just pump the brakes on that. But the point is though, what else does Cleveland have? Jerry Jeudy, we've seen for years. I think he's a fine NFL receiver. He's not a 1, dude. He's not a 1. Stop it.
He might not even be a 2.
It's a debate, right? It's a debate at 2, right? It depends on the team and the QB, and then maybe.
But like honestly, man, if the Chiefs had gone out and traded for fucking Jerry Jeudy instead of DeAndre Hopkins, would anybody have really given a shit?
Fuck yeah. Everybody that gets traded to the Chiefs is the next ticket. But like, how long can we be fooled by this? I'm not taking my name. I'm taking my name out of this. But how many times? Now listen, I'm not telling you that DeAndre Hopkins won't be better. He cannot be worse. But it's like every single time, Mike, someone trades at the Chiefs, going to the Chiefs, except for Kareem Hunt going back home. No, everybody's excited and crazy.
Nobody cared about that. Nobody cared about Juju going back to the Chiefs, except me.
And you know what's great is that outside of the 1 week wonder, he was
the 1 week wonder.
We was right. But listen, that 1 week wonder hits your lineup nice. Let me just ask you though,
nice
any tight ends? Any tight ends outside of Njoku? I'm not saying you're saying to go buy Njoku. I don't think either of us are. I'm just saying in general, the landscape right now. Is there anyone else out there that you're kind of like?
Hunter Henry.
We've been, right? Like if there was a share to be had, we've been fucking pounding. Dude, I sent out, I can't tell you, I don't really do a lot of trade offer, just send out spamming. I wish I did more. I need to do more. Hunter Henry for thirds, that's been all year, buddy. I've done it as often as I can, you know?
And if I had to pay up, like I had to, like I really, like this is the thing that's going to put me over, George Kittle. No Brandon Aiyuk, right?
Yeah.
Like,
if you wanted to go, it's a good call. I was getting ready to talk about that. If you wanted to try to buck the trend, like I'm not still of the mindset that's the way you're best optimally using your capital. But if you're in a position where it's like, okay, the tight end is actually a lot better in warp than relative to other leagues, or you're kind of just lucky right now as far as everyone else is injured, you're not, and you're trying to shoot your shot on the final infinity stone, I agree with you, Kittle. Man, that's so funny. I'm not going to mention names, but I had a conversation preseason. Kincaid's going to be a top 5 tight end. It's just a lock. It's a lock. He's going to be top. There's no way. No one else could be there. And we started going through. I'm like, all right, just for the sake of the argument, let's just have this conversation. And I was like, I think I could give you 8 tight ends that I think reasonably could finish higher than him. He's like, no. Kittle came up. And when he was pushing back that Kittle wouldn't finish higher than him, I'm like, man, I don't even need to argue here because this will take care of itself. I didn't expect, like, I guess here's the thing. When the tight end position is down right now, I think what makes Kittle more enticing than ever, obviously he's having quietly a career year. But Kittle's always been a guy, Mike, that's been so boom bust, right? But the booms are
Tyler
just
Lockett of tight ends.
But the thing is, Mike, okay, that's a great – I like that call because the Tyler Lockett – see, the thing is Tyler Lockett can have a boom. Like, he can go out there and give you a cannonball of cannonballs and no one fucking felt it, heard it, saw it, don't give a shit. You go out there and put up 33 in a fucking game as a tight end, like you just about 33 times what Dalton Kincaid did for the week, you know? Like –
nailed it.
The thing is, the landscape, Mike, has actually benefited – George Kittle's type of performances more so than ever. I obviously, I'm not going to act like he is not having a good year, and there's other injuries and situations to be even more bullish on him. But I think he's always been this. It's just been there's been Kelsey, there's been guys, Mark Andrews, there's been guys that are so elite that it wasn't as significant as it is currently because, man, it's kind of crazy, this Sam Laporta thing, huh? Like, dude. This guy was – I was getting laughed out of Dynasty conversations for not wanting the Dynasty tight end one who was the best production last year.
I was called a traitor for wanting to sell him.
Now, granted, I'm not trying to act like I'm not victory lapping or telling you that I saw him having this little volume, but holy crap, man, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. One other thing on the tight end position. I mean, while I'm out here just feeling frisky and taking shots. Let's just say that within the last probably 2 weeks here, and if it continues into the future, if you're a Dynasty analyst and you tweet out something to the effect of Brock Bowers is Dynasty tight end one, just know I fucking hate you to your core, and I hope everything bad in life happens to you and you alone.
See,
yeah, he's kind of been Dynasty tight end one for a month now, and I still don't give a fuck. Like, what a bold take. Brock Bowers, Dynasty tight end. Thank you.
Mike, they weren't wrong, were they? They weren't wrong, were they?
Jesus fucking Christ.
It'd
be like me tweeting out at him that, I think Jayden Daniels is probably a top 5 quarterback in Dynasty. No shit. Good job, Mike. Thanks for being real first to the party.
I think it's time to have the conversation. I think it's time to at least have the conversation. I don't know if I'm ready to put him there yet, but I'll have the conversation with you.
Here's the thing about Brock Bowers, though. It's still like, listen, he's tight end one in Dynasty for whatever the fuck that's worth. But you and I are still above this. Like, we don't.
I just want to say very, very short and concisely: if you are the prospect that everyone's been wanting, and you're smashing in points per game, and the field sucks, what the fuck are we talking? Of course he is. It's by a lot. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry, I just had to get that out of there.
You're not fucking wrong. But here's the other thing: the reason I don't give a shit. His WARP per game in a normal league, Adam, is 0.165, which is good. He's not even tight end one.
That's actually pretty solid, yeah.
But he's not even tight end one in WARP per game.
You know who that is?
George Kittle.
Georgie boy.
Who's over 0.2, right? But even if you kind of just take this and you want to go like, well, who's given me a tenth of a win per game on the season at the tight end position? The tight end position is so fucking bad that there's 15 of these dudes. Who are over a 0.1 WARP, Adam, including the guy I tried to bury earlier, K-Dot.
Well, listen, I've been quiet. I've been patient. Unlike Mike, I didn't jump on the pedestal when I saw its first opportunity. But it's been sitting up there. I'm not getting told to go up there and take my place, so I'm going to do it now. Mike, can you tell me what Noah Fant's WARP is in that league right there?
Sure can. In WARP per game, Noah Fant would be the 8th tight end in the entire league.
Well, the real Noah Fant haters, please stand up, bro. The crazy part is that Noah Fant hasn't been doing shit in my mind, like in my heart. It's like
he hasn't been doing enough for us.
This is not the Noah Fant that I was getting ready to get excited for. But here we fucking are, buddy. 4 catches. Mike, it's literally, can he get to 60 yards? If he gets to 60 yards, he is a plus option at the tight end position, whether it's 6 or 4 catches, buddy. That is a remarkably low bar to even fucking talk about.
Yes.
Noah Fant's upside is so capped, his floor is so bad, and he's tight end 8 in a WARP per game. And I proudly wear this jersey because of that.
Proudly. I was trying to think of any other Seahawks that ever wore 87 over the time, but I can't think of anybody.
87 feels extremely tight end or McCaffrey back in the day, right?
Or like maybe like Steve Largent.
Yeah. What was he?
What
He was
did Steve
89. Wasn't 89?
He had to. It's got to be retired, right? It's
Yeah,
got to be
100%, dude. Yeah.
80.
80.
Okay.
It is retired.
Shout out Steve Largent.
Every time I go, I was looking because I got 2 of these jerseys. One of which we don't have to speak about because I was worried that I did something bad to put him in a place he didn't deserve to be. Mike, those Largent jerseys though are, dude. I'll tell you this: the 12s, it's kind of impressive the way they are out there in the fucking corner of the country. Jerseys are impossible. Noah fans' jerseys impossible to get. How is that even possible?
They only manufacture really good players.
That's fair, but even then, how is that possible? If you're the 12s, you know how many other players you could buy? All of them.
That's true, man. Listen, your investment in a Noah fan jersey was way better than my investment in an Antonio Gibson Commanders jersey.
Well, that's
just like, or anything Carson Wentz I've ever bought in my entire life.
The funny part. I don't know if you caught that on money. Was I act like I just got it from him, dude. I ordered that jersey the same time as some of the other ones. I'm talking like a month and change later. This thing comes. Like, nobody wants this jersey. I'm pretty sure they're not producing anymore. They probably reluctantly did. But I don't know. I'm to the point where Njoku's one of the guys at tight end, if I'm interested at trying to find a plus option. I'll tell you the truth. Most times I'm not really looking to do so. Can I just get a guy like that's going to hold serve? Can I get a Noah Fant for almost nothing?
Yeah.
That's what I prefer to do. But if Njoku can be had in a trade, which is palatable, I think there's going to be bad weeks in the offense. You talked about with Jameis. I think there's certainly going to be the case. But I also have seen kind of a shitty offensive line in Bucks back in the day. Now, I'm not telling you Njoku's the weaponry he had, which both got hurt, RIP. But I've seen the guy sling it. I've seen Njoku a little. He looks a little bit, boxish. He's not quite the most limber athletic guy, but he's moving, man. That dude's an athlete. So I'll chase that. That's about it though. Kittle, if you have Kittle and you're rebuilding at this point, you haven't moved him, what the fuck are you doing? Like, Kittle should be almost unbuyable. He should be on a contender or not at this point. That dude is smashing.
Right. Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's some dudes out there, man. Pat Freiermuth too, with the Russ starting too.
All right.
Somebody a little bit.
Let's do it. So one of the things that happened to me, well, I shouldn't say happened to me. I'm just playing around. Happened to all of us that had Justin Fields playing so well is Russ had we didn't get to watch much of it because we were doing you and I were on the phone after I did a show, but Russ had a pretty poor, I'd say, overall first half. It was funny. He went up with the post game though, and he had a good finish, and he had a good game, and he had a good fantasy game, and he kept talking. Man, it's funny. That dude has been kind of so irrelevant to the media. It feels like in so long, and he doesn't blink an eye. He's up there. I kept telling him every time. Basically, he says that he's saying to the media, he's going off to every drive that he's shitty. I'm gonna get hot here. That dude believes in himself. More than Noah Fant, more than anybody, buddy. He has no self-doubt. Wow.
Kevin Gates or Russell Wilson? Who's the better, like, believe in yourself hype man?
Well,
I watch a lot of Kevin Gates shit on like Instagram.
Kevin Gates,
reels and shit.
Because no one likes Russ, really. But,
that's true.
But
everybody likes Kevin Gates. Fuck you.
But I guess okay. The one thing I will say about it, like, I'm curious how long this goes on, if it's even a conversation, if Russ at this point now just is the quarterback and they move on. If he was under 50% completion, I think there was some drives he could have had better on. They put the game in hand. I think the reality is either one of these guys is going to be just fine with the defense like that, healthy currently. This team is in a position to be very, very good. So the one thing I will say, of course I'm going to speak on Justin Fields. What do you think? I think I'm fucking mute. Hey, come on. I'm coming. Listen, I take my L's. I take my W's. And if you think you've won this one just yet, oh, buddy, You got another thing coming. No, but Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, I don't think it matters. The one thing I do think it does matter, Mike, we talk about the butterfly effect. This is the butterfly effect for the pass catchers potentially, though, because I think that Russ, regardless of if the stats are reflective of it or not on a consistent basis, he's a better contested catch thrower of the football. I won't even put any merit into fighting that. George Kittle is that way. He's not on that team. But George Pickens and both, I was getting ready to try to say, put Pat Freiermuth and George Pickens, guys that are good football players, good receivers, that they're not, you know them for what you will, but you shouldn't know them for their separation. And this offense with Fields has not, or with anyone, has not had a great separator and has not had great weapons. I think Russ is, a better touch ball thrower. Curious to see how this goes moving forward. But I think right now it's a plus sign for the receiving options, and that we have to like.
Yeah. Anybody who's holding on to George Pickens' hope has to feel good.
Absolutely. All of a sudden, the price of the brick. You talk about the price of the brick went up. Those sniffing around for George Pickens light, those are dead now.
What's interesting too, we didn't see it in the passing game from Najee Harris. He only had one fucking target this last week. Mm-hmm. But the running game against a pretty decent, I'm not gonna say it's super great, but the Jets aren't no pushovers on fucking defense. Najee Harris having as much running room as he did with Russ back there versus Justin Fields was interesting. As many stack box. The defense actually did respect Russ's ability to say, fuck it, I'm going to throw it downfield one-on-one if you're going to cover George Pickens.
Yeah.
If you're just going to give him one-on-one coverage, I'm going to throw it up to him.
For sure.
Just kiss my ass. And in all reality, man, Fields wouldn't do that, especially even as well as I thought Fields was playing this year. He's still, he's no, man, because if I do that and then it gets picked off, everybody fucking hates me, and then they bury me, just like it was in Chicago. He doesn't really want to do that. Russ is fuck it. I got faith this moon ball is going to be, even if it's not a good one, right? The deep completions he had to George Pickens while we're talking on the phone, I'm like, what the fuck was that? George Pickens got to bobble it to him fucking self, knock it up in the air and then catch it again. For sure. It wasn't the most pretty thing, but hey, there's something to be said about somebody who's got that confidence just to throw it anyway. So the Najee Harris thing, maybe defense has got to respect this a little bit more. So less stacked boxes, Najee's not getting hit in the backfield. And we're still waiting for this Jalen Warren thing to happen. I've yet to fucking see it. So
are we?
I'm not waiting for it. I buried this shit last year, but there's still people out there. There's still a few.
They are. They're quieter than the A-Rich people right now, and that's me. So come on.
We're pretty quiet on the A-Rich front.
Yeah.
What we're not quiet about? I did see this too, by the way, Trip. I wasn't going to let this shit slide. How am I feeling about Josh Jacobs right now? He still fucking sucks, man. I didn't see you the last couple weeks when the dude was RB 25, 24, 23. I didn't see you fucking chirping then. Dude had one RB 13 week, and now you're back in here fucking chirping after my vacation. Listen, fuck you too, buddy. All right? You'll get this smoke too. Everybody's going to get it. The dude is ass, okay? Man. When Marshawn Lloyd comes back, this shit's fucking over, okay? It's donezo.
Yeah.
You're 60% fucking snap share on a great offense in Green Bay. He still blows.
I'll be honest with
slow,
you.
He stinks.
I'll be honest with you, Michael.
Get some.
And I mean this, I mean this as your buddy and your pal. You're half right on this. Marshawn Lloyd ain't gonna be the reason that Josh Jacobs ain't doing shit. Okay, it's just Josh fucking Jacobs is not been. Josh Jacobs has not done anything. My biggest problem is outside of the big year he had in 2022 in Vegas. He's kind of been a name that's just largely underperformed the Josh Jacobs allure. This year I've been told different than the years prior when I wasn't told. Hopefully you caught that that's a fucking lie. This is the year though. This team is really good. They're going to be in a bunch of offensive situations where he's going to have a lot of touches. Even if he's not getting a ton of pass catching work, that's can come with Jordan Love and all those goal line opportunities. And I'm not telling you that those opportunities haven't been there. I'm telling you that I'm waiting for when that matters. I'm not going to act like I'm, getting everything right this year. But I will tell you, I just don't. Josh Jacobs to me was never really close to the conversation, where the other running backs, even if they're not the greatest, they start to give me that upside that I really believe in. Like right now, I'm still holding on to whatever fucking hope it is, and we got Tua coming back this week for Achane. I've seen this dude go 50 burger. Like, I'm not. Josh Jacobs to me is the top tier name of not that group, and why am I paying for it?
Yeah. Jacobs or Kareem Hunt.
All right. And that was the other thing. I tried to just get you off of it. Like, Mike's out here shooting people. You can't go out here just shooting people, lady. It's the real world. He goes Kareem Hunt. Damn.
I'm sorry, Trip. I may have overreacted, but it doesn't matter, man.
I'll tell you what. For a guy that says he had a bad weekend, this motherfucker shooting like he can't miss. Kareem Hunt versus Josh Jacobs. Like, he's coming at next. Dude. Look, I love it. I love it. I just even when I suspect, like, I kind of know, like, Mike's in his bag right now. He could come with something. You still give me like 1 or 2 or 3 a week where I'm like, oh my God, I did not. No way. Love it. I'm not mad about it, but okay, let me ask you this. Let's do a couple rapid fires for the people. Questions. We got super chats coming left and right. Listen, man, let me just put
every single one,
we're just kind of putting it up here like it just happens, and it does because of y'all. But let me not continue to just at least put our appreciation out there. Everybody tapping in, everybody with the super chats, showing love. We hope you are having a good season and finding a way to not get injured players. I know there's a high probability that's not the case. I'm still rooting for you. And unless you're in the league with me, I won't tell you that lie. This part through the year, man, I think a lot of our processes has helped you. A lot of my player takes, like normal, have fucked you. And I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen for the remainder of the year. I think that if you can stay even keel right now, you'll end up being in a plus spot later on where a lot of the money's to be made in the next, as Mike said, the handful of weeks to come. You got to be in the mix, but man, I right now I got a lot of my teams in this position to contend. I got some things I want to do with them, but I'm still like, I'm kind of holding out. I'm trying to hold out. Like, I'm trying to make sure I'm not pushing in when I don't need to. Obviously, if you have to, like you talked about with Cooper Kupp, if you have a position, you're in a position to go get a steal. But I also like to have that Joker card, that Ricky Pearsall, if you will, later on in the season.
Yeah. So on Jonathan's super chat here's the tough part, man. You're 2-5.
It sucks.
And when you look at it, like Hurts, you talked about Achane just a little bit ago, Adam. Jahmyr Gibbs is why everyone always bitches at me about how much more love I have for him than David Montgomery. No offense to Monty, he's playing fucking well, but yeah, this past week you see why I fucking love Gibbs so much more. He's just different. AJ Brown, talked about earlier on the show, A-WAR per game god. Amari Cooper got a nice touchdown with Josh Allen. We talked about him last week on the trade. Kincaid is whatever, overrated as shit.
You can't do nothing with Kincaid now.
I still love Worthy, and I think at some point it'll come back to me, but I'm eating shit for all my love for him early in the season because he's really kind of done fuck all, even though he's had all the opportunity in the world. Chase Brown's fine. Jalen Warren is dog shit. Ricky Pearsall I have hope for. Hunter Henry is really nice. Anyways, whatever. There's some nice pieces on this roster, but the fact remains you got 7 fucking weeks, including this week, until the playoffs start. 7 weeks. Mm-hmm. You're 2-5. Even if you ran the table, this is a 9-5 team. Which the odds are you're probably not running the fucking table. You're going to take 1 or 2.
9-5. 9-5. I think this season in a lot of leagues gets you in. And now, to your point, this is the reality. 7? I think. Yeah. I think your room for there is no room for your Secret Service consequences. Yeah. I think you've probably got a wiggle room game for sure. And I think you lose 2, and you're like, that's it. You lose 2 games. You get to 2 and you get to 7 losses. You're probably at that point needing a little help, and you can get in. I don't think you in just a 12-man league, man. It's so unlikely. Mike, I've always seen it the other way. Have you? I've never seen a league where 8 people are trying to rebuild and 4 people are trying to contend.
Right.
The math. One thing people kind of forget about. I've always wanted to make that point and never get to. So glad we got it there. It's like, the math doesn't work that way. So because people are always looking to go win, they're not looking to go lose.
I've seen it one time, and it's because of you. Because of you.
Well, that's true. Okay, and if there is an exception to the rule, I'm happy to be the person. Which league is that?
We're in this like predicament right now, Adam. You got such a juggernaut in the OG shit best ball league. Like, I will give you all the props in the world. You have such a juggernaut, and you have for 2 years now. It was so bad that last year, we had to do dispersals for orphans. And I took my team, which was in the finals last year, facing off against you.
Oh, yeah. I know where you're going with this.
And I threw that motherfucker into the dispersal because I was like, this is the only way. Like, I just got to write out Adam. I need to, like, just get some fucking pieces.
Let me shake it up. Yeah, shake it up.
Yeah, I need to invest in Justin Jefferson in the dispersal. Let me get these good fucking pieces because I ain't winning this fucking league with Adam.
Because right? Jay's on it. Can I win?
Can I win? And the answer is fucking no as the second best team in the league. Adam, right? So I throw the whole fucking team in the dispersal, right?
Yeah.
Where do we sit right now again? Adam in first place. Guess who's in second? And I'm sitting there, and people are offering me trades like, Mike, you're in second place, and they want like future first and like this kind of shit. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but I may be in second place, but I view this more as a rebuild.
Yeah, this is I am very much the slingshot. I'm the slingshot guy. I don't view myself as a winner. Okay,
I'm the clear second best team in this fucking league, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
I'm giving up. Pushing in. You guys kiss my ass.
I mean,
go fuck yourselves.
That's fair. That league.
So it has happened.
That league is
because of you.
That league is
a big head.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what it took to do that? To be the only one. To be fucking. I convinced everybody else that they're gonna go win right now. Mike, unfortunately, I was rooting them all on. Only one of them could win. So that said, when you look at this team in this situation, I mean, let's call it what it is. You're dire straits.
My honest answer is no.
But okay, here's my question.
You can try,
but what are the options? Do you not have your first? I don't know. I want to know, I guess, what the question is. Are you asking us, would you continue to try to leverage in? I'm not doing that unless I'm looking at a league like Mike said, where are you 2-5 and you're at 5th place? Like, this team right now is solid, right? I think if you stay healthy, is this one quarterback too?
Must be. Yeah.
Mike, can I tell you I'm gonna tell you another thing about one quarterback. There's a lot of things about one quarterback that I don't love. One of the things I really don't love is that, like, the reward is not really as great in my opinion unless you get that really close to the number 1 overall pick. Because the lack of quarterbacks that just convolute the pick values and help the overall value of players, I always lean players for the most part, especially when you get to those mid to late first. It's like, no, man, I don't want these fucking I don't want these turds. So it makes it a little bit. I guess that being said, it makes it a little more interesting to go compete, but I still don't give a fuck. Like, I don't know. I'm thinking about this right now.
Yeah,
you got AJB, Mark Cooper's looked better, so you got but you're also playing with no depth at all. Jennings is your now nicely wide receiver. I don't know, man. And I'm looking at the depth to me here is the problem too, right? Like, who's stepping up in here on a bye week even? Who's stepping up in here if HN has another week or 2 game off? Like, you don't have any. The thing is, if you had some wiggle room, that'd be fine. We just go get you some depth. This team has to win every single week, and Jonathan, for $5, I'll tell you this: you're better off spending $5 right now here, and having us give you that foot up the ass treatment than leveraging all your 50 or your 100 or whatever, and watching that fucker burn. Like, sometimes you got to hear the things you don't want to hear. And I'm happy to be the person to tell you that.
Yep. I probably just ride this out as it is, and we'll see what happens where the chips fall. But I'm not making any aggressive moves. Now, if you go like your next 5 for 5, all of a sudden you're sitting at 7 and 5, and the trade deadline hasn't passed yet, and you want to come back, Jonathan? Like, fuck yeah, let's go. Hey, you got to go 5 for 5, boy.
Jonathan,
like,
if you win 5 in a row, you're 7 and 5. You come here, you give no super chats. Every fucking one of your comments goes up. You can talk as much shit as you want to me. I won't even be mad at you, buddy. And I also, the thing is, I'm rooting for you to do that. But Mike, here's the thing. One of the things I'm thinking, I have a team. I have a few teams where it's like my record's here, and that team that got that record is nice, right? But the team that I'm currently situated with, when we look at injuries and just the situation with the picks I have left, it's like, damn, I'm kind of in that, what do you want to call it? Frisky, fraudulent. Like, I'm needing some things to be shaken up, as Mike would say, going to the dispersal. The crazy part when I'm looking at, this is not a comment to you, Jonathan, just in general, it's like, if we are having conversations where the tiebreaker is leaning away from you, do you know what you have no depth? Most of these teams don't have any depth that are that bad. So you're a single injury away from, like, you don't win another game again, you know?
Yeah.
Just let it, just go out. Just kind of bow out. You're okay. You'll win next year.
Yeah. Hey, one more thing I wanted to say before we get to
something was on your mind. I was wondering, is he drunk or is there something on your mind? Okay, good. No, probably both. I
just got to bend over, pat myself on the back here. You know, even on this show, I got a little bit of pushback from a certain someone about this quarterback, Drake Maye of the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Wait, back-to-back top 10 weeks, baby.
Absolutely.
Top 10 weeks.
You weren't here. You weren't here last week when I said to Andrew.
Sorry.
I said last week, after 1 week, I said, listen, it's early. I still want to see more, but it's looking like I'm getting ready to eat a lot of my words here on Drake Maye early. The worst part is I love the prospect. I just was like, this is a guy I'm willing to cash out on for now. And, you know, sometimes when you're cold, you're cold. Or when you're hot, you're hot. Like, you just fade me, right? Sometimes if you just were to play the opposite, like Nick made a trade today. I love this. He makes a trade, right? And the 2 players he traded away, he put a big parlay on, like, them doing well, you know? So it's like, well, we're going to find out. It's Kyron but it's like, listen, when I trade people away or when I go by, like, these are some guys you should be fading. They're probably in for a big day. So, no, I mean, good call on Drake Maye. I think there's no doubt for me on the talent, and he's certainly showing you. I mean, let's say this: we both agreed on the Jacoby Brissett thing. I would hope is just like to try to buy some time to get him some, you know, experience watching, because
right.
there's everybody knew what that shit is. Hopefully, the arm talent, everything about him is as advertised. I would expect nothing less. The one thing with him, and this is not a knock on him for the record. He's balling his ass off, and I would not be surprised to see him continue to ball. I think he's that type of dude. One thing I really loved about Jayden Daniels so far is that when he's having those games where it's like, damn, like this kind of is not going his way, he doesn't fucking blink. He has balled out those games. I'm kind of curious to see. It's not going to go. When I say that, like, the Commanders are in the chance to win every game. I don't know if the Patriots are going to be that, but he has had a lot of success individually, and I think he's not had necessarily a ton of adversity from, you know, teams, you know, getting after him early and a ton of, like, you know, interceptions. Those type of things. I think if he can kind of play well through those type of games, I'm really going to be eating my words then, buddy, because I'm already eating them now.
Yeah. It's way too early for me to say, you know, Jayden Daniels.
Hey, man, I thought, you know what's crazy? But I will say, I do like this type of Mike when he's victory lapping himself. I thought you had something, like, so deep, like when you were telling me you almost died or something. Like, I thought you were sitting on that with, like, a lot of thought and, like, it was wisdom and all this, like, okay, Mike's got a really good point here. And he was waiting to, I like that, shove it right up the sphincter. Okay.
I
we
love
on that
Drake
type
Maye.
of time. We on that
What a fucking quarterback class. Listen, I think with him playing well, Caleb Williams now coming on, Jayden Daniels being awesome, Malik Neighbors balling. The only person that seems to be really disappointing for a lot of people is Marvin Harrison. Listen,
Imagine telling somebody that.
Yeah, I know. I'm still preaching a lot of patience on Marv.
For sure.
There's some ancillary stuff, obviously, that we'd like to see cleaned up, and I get it, but whatever. I'm preaching a lot of patience on Marv, but do you remember when you and I were talking about this, about how this is the greatest dynasty class that we've ever seen? Talk about being vindicated too, man, because we didn't even have Brian Thomas being, as fucking elite as Brian Thomas has. And even a couple weeks ago, you and I were still kind of okay. I saw a lot of your points on the money moves about Brian Thomas.
I still feel very much the same way.
It was like, go fuck yourself out.
The worst part is I still feel very much the same way. Like, man, like he to the point you're making though, he's producing. So right or wrong, for now, he's producing. And once we loved Christian Kirk, that seems to be a low upside ship that just no one wants anyway. But I guess to your point in the class.
Yeah, RIP on that one. Fuck.
Yeah, to the point of the class though.
Tyler Boyd-ish.
Yikes. No, what? Jeez. Man. I'm telling you, whether you're in the grave, on your way, healthy, happy, man, Freddy Krueger style, Mike is coming for your ass. What I was going to say, though, on the class, I think the reality is that there's a lot of times where the class is, at this time, not looking the greatest because you have only a handful, and when I say a handful, probably like a few, right? 2-3 players carrying that torch as far as production goes, and then you have a lot more of the guys that are the young dynasty guys that you're going to wait to see have better second halves of the year, and then we'll go into the summer feeling a lot better.
Ricky Pearsall-esque.
Exactly.
Like that kind of.
But, and I think that this year was always going to be the case where there was a situation, all these guys were going to get on the field. There was a ton of early draft capital. Speaking of that, there was, what was it, the 14th or 15th player off the board was finally a defensive player, right?
It took a long time.
So I'm actually thinking about it right now. The ones that are not producing, kind of interesting, is J.J. McCarthy got hurt.
Yep.
Is
we haven't seen Michael Penix on the field yet.
Is Michael Penix, but Michael Penix was a late first, early second. Even when we tried to drive the train up, it never really got past there,
Right.
Unless you and I were taking him early. I think everybody, you know what? So the conversation starts with the production really falls off right at where, and this is not always the case too, where we kind of pinpoint, like we bookmarked that shit. Xavier Worthy's, the Keon Coleman's, that was the clear tier break. Lad McConkey, yeah, that tier, right? Where are you going to take one of those guys ahead of Penix? Like that was the spot. And Brock Bowers' production, man, you're looking at tight end 1. You're looking at Malik Neighbors is still in the conversation top 5 even after having a down week and 2 weeks off with a concussion. Actually, you know what? That was a point I wanted to get to. I want to see. Okay, I'm actually curious your thoughts on this here. Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm not telling you he should not be valued very highly. I'm just kind of of the mindset he feels like fake value right now. More so like, I don't think anybody. Now, I probably would actually be. I don't have enough Marv because everybody told me that if I don't have 101, I'm not getting them, which meant, buddy. I mean, there was a couple times I had 101 and 102. I got them. I didn't get a lot of Marv. I'd love to go get Marv. I would pay full boat. I bet you there's almost no one paying full boat right now. People are
hyped up like Bitcoin, but producing more like Ethereum.
You see, Mike, it's kind of like this. It's easy to say what you're going to do, right? It's easy to kind of say, oh, I would have done this, and this is what I did, and come flex. You got to put a money moves out and see how it goes every week. You got to put your nuts on the line. Like, all these people are doing is just press and keep, trade, cut. They have no skin in the game. Everyone just says, yeah, Marv should be high. You know what? This is what we had the lab for, man. Fuck that. J-Cat, what's up now? Let's go see. I want to see what actual deals look like, man. I want to see some like what are people just being stubborn that have them, and that's fine. You should hold. Yes. I'm just kind of curious to see like what his market actually is, because
if Mr. Wonderful tapped in the content, he would say I'm being stubborn.
Well,
I mean, this is just a few days ago. He offered me Brian Thomas and Xavier Legette from Marvin Harrison in a best ball league. And I told him, fuck off. And he was like, the old McNutted. I thought he was a tear-down king. I was like, it's a different life. Like, I'm being stubborn.
And these are fucking
peanuts.
Like
Brian Thomas Jr., but I'm not. I like Xavier Legette too, but Jesus Christ, I'm not fucking moving Marv.
Well, and to your point, if you feel that way, I can tell you this. The rest of the community feels like Mr. Wonderful. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this, but it's a wide receiver one spot different, man. Wide receiver 7 versus wide receiver 8.
Right next to each other.
For you, I'm actually I want to do this with you real quick, rapid fire. Kind of curious what people think. What's the verdict on Rome, man? Like JSN, I'll get to that too. Let's start with Marv. Okay, with Marv right now.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receiver 7 for you, still appropriate? Still.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's test this theory. Puka Nacua or Marvin Harrison Jr.
Marv.
Let's go Garrett Wilson. I'm pretty
Marv.
sure we were 2 weeks ago. We found out what your answer was there. AJ Brown.
Marv.
Really?
Marv.
Contender?
Because
here's the thing. I'm gonna the reason I phrase it that way. I do this too. I've been trying to make myself not do this. It's like it's easy to kind of just let me get Marv. We are in. Listen, this is contending season. I'm sorry. Some people are 2-5. I'm trying to win right now, and if that's the case in Dynasty, if it's close, it's like, fuck, that's tough. You put my screws to the thing last time. It was Roman. It was Roman DK. I got the offer from T-Rock. Fuck that. I think right now in October, it's AJ. I'm not saying you can't have a preference, by the way, where you like Marv. I just think that's my reason why I'll put AJ ahead of him. I'm with you on the other guys though.
Contender, it's real fucking close, man. And I'd probably
would you do that straight up?
Yes.
Would you do it straight up from the other side? I guess is what I'm saying. Let's say you're like,
if I'm a contender and I had AJ Brown, somebody offered me Marv straight up for him.
No, you are our super chat friend. You are suddenly 2-5.
Oh, I'm 2-5, and somebody offered me Marv for my AJ Brown straight up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm smashing the Marv side.
Yeah, I would too. You know what's funny? DB, are you with us? DB, dude, I was literally in the airport. I was trying to this is actually a funny story. Discord, have you ever sent the audio messages in Discord? They're different than iPhone. So I sit there and holding it, right? It makes you hold it the whole time. I record a voice message for about 3 minutes. And when I take my finger off, the whole motherfucker's gone. Mike, I was done. It was like when the game back in the day, the kids, they'll never understand, like when your memory card was busted or it didn't save it. Like, nah, we ain't playing the game for a minute, man. You can't. I'm out.
We done.
He's still here. He was in this position, and I think he was like not loving it. DB, I'm curious. Where are you at now on this? I didn't get the voice memo to you. It doesn't matter what I was going to say because I didn't say it. Where are you at on this? I know you had I think he was coming for his Marv, and he was going to give him AJB. And would you still do that now? Because I think, personally, right or wrong, what you thought then, what I think now, I'm probably doing that. I'm not telling – I guess here's my thing with Marv. I'm not telling anybody that they should not be bullish still on the player, the prospect. I think he's still going to have a very, very good career. I'm not telling you that you should be out on him. But I'm kind of calling a little bit of BS. Like, I don't think people are – I think people are quietly a little bit concerned from they thought he was going to be in the conversation for wide receiver 1 overall right now.
So I pulled it up on the lab. There's a couple of deals done today for Marv.
Really? Okay. What do we got?
Best Ball League, Marv, Josh Palmer in a 4th.
Doo-Doo Brown. Yeah, let me get that doo-doo. Shit.
For Cooper Kupp, Gesicki, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery.
Sorry, fizzled totally. I'm on light sleep, so I need you to redo that whole thing. I heard none of it.
Marv, Josh Palmer in a fourth. For Cooper Kupp, Gesicki, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery. Best ball league.
All right, best ball. That sounds okay. That's a trade lineup in best ball, Mike. Now I'm not telling you shouldn't want Monty or Jacobs. I don't love them, but in lineup, like in best ball, that's a lot more palatable. Still though, is that not sticker shock?
I think so.
Is that just a bad trade? Do you think though?
Another best ball league.
Okay.
CeeDee Lamb, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Cedric Tillman
On one side?
On one side. For Nico Collins, Rashee Rice, and a first.
Dub. That's a dub, man.
Big dub, right?
What do we... see, can I tell you, those are the ones that piss me off if I'm in a league. Like, I don't care. I know people are going to get played and the values go... Why are you giving a first... That's crazy, dude. That is crazy.
Marv for 2 firsts in 2025.
Okay, let me ask you. What are you doing there? I think that's an interesting discussion.
Start 9 lineup league.
What are you doing?
I mean, we're just talking like random mid to lates.
Let's call one a chance that could end up being outside the playoffs, could be in, and let's call one probably going to be in the playoffs.
Man, I think you're still probably smart if you take Marv there, but yeah.
So let's say there's a chance like one is like a 107 to like 104. Let's call it, right?
You'd have to guarantee that's like top 3. Like one of those would be top.
I'm saying one of them is not a top 3 likelihood at all. Let's say that would be okay. You think so?
Marv yeah. Yep. Marv,
I guess it would come down probably for me. It would probably come down to where that other one is. If you're telling me like that other team is like, well, if it's like my team, no. But if it's like a very good chance to get a bye, I'm with you. I'd still rather have Marv there. I think if it's 2 mids, I might be a lot more interested though.
How about this one? Something a little bit less, for you Marv panickers. Yeah. Marv a first and a second for Tyreek, AJ Brown, and Ramondre Stevenson. Now, if we were breaking this down on the trade show, Marv for AJ Brown, we just talked about the Contender deal. Tyreek for the first and Ramondre for the second. That feels like a smash Contender deal. Tyreek, AJ Brown, and
man, I'm gonna tell you the other thing about that type of a trade too is like, I feel like Tyreek is obviously and rightfully so at a suppressed point. Man, Tua coming back, that might be a nice little. Would you be surprised to see Tyreek Hill have a very nice finish?
No, I would not. I would like Cooper Kupp-esque. Put him in the same category as how I was just talking about Cooper Kupp earlier in the show.
Mike, you were talking about how like we have only a handful of weeks. It really does. It's a long time, but it'll go so quick, and things will seem so far away. It feels like an eternity ago that Tyreek Hill was on pace to have 2K and break the record for NFL receiving yards. Like,
yeah,
right. I would love to get that Tyreek Hill part of that trade, Mike, that you just mentioned to me. At the timing of this makes me like, all right, I'm a lot more. That's kind of a nice piece there. These are all kind of lighter than what I was expecting.
Yeah, I got a couple other light ones.
Okay.
Right, so market is down on Marv.
Big time.
If you guys want to explore it. Marvin a third for Christian McCaffrey, Juju, Nick Chubb, Christian Watson, and a second.
That ain't light. That's no brains. And someone's fucking just.
And the last one I got for you, recent one, Brock Bowers in a first for Kyle Pitts, Marv a second, a third, and a fourth.
Those are. Listen, I still got it right here. Those are shit. Those are shit trades. Okay.
Shit trades. Okay. So you can get some cheap Marv deals if you guys are interested in. Now, some of these, like I'm not gonna lie to you, right? This fucking Marvin Harrison for 2 firsts, that's a conversation. The Marv for Tyreek, AJ Brown, and Ramondre Stevenson, I'm like, fuck yeah, you're a contender. I get it. sell Marv.
That's
I would
such
just
an
say
easy
in general,
pivot out.
like
That's such an easy pivot out, bro. Like you're not even having to work for that. I feel like you
the
have a
panic on Marv
bag that
actually
you
feels a
thought was
little
going to
real.
be a contender, and it's not, and now you just get to go get that. That seems too easy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
I would say the panic on Marv actually does feel real, not a fugaz.
But
Even though Keep Trade Cut says he's at only
That's
7
why-
or whatever, it feels like there's a possibility for some people he's between 7 and 20.
That's why I called it fake value. I felt like there's no way in which his market is reflective of him being traded for the same price as is fucking Jalen Hurts. Hell, even Brian Thomas Jr., let's call it. Brock Bowers, Amon-Ra St. Brown territories. Like, nah, man. I'm not telling you that we should be overly panicked on Marv, but what I'm saying is I don't believe that the community is that cool, calm, and collected at this part in the season. I don't fucking buy it on anybody. And I will admit, Mike, if we were talking about this prior, right, in the whole offseason, one of my arguments would have been, well, Marv's retention, and I still believe it's incredibly high. I think some of these one-off trades are just bad trades. I think there's some good trades that you brought up, though, where it's like, value retention isn't quite as good as we once thought, for sure. But that would have been one of the points that I made. That's like, damn, people are short-sighted, believe it or not, no matter what you think of it. All right, let me just do this real quick with the quarterbacks. Let's talk about this. Go ahead.
Just one thing
Sure.
on Marv too, and I want to give a shout out to our good friends over at Fantasy Points.
I thought you were keep trade cutting it again. That would have been awesome.
No, the actual good friends, right? And Scott Barrett does a lot of good, incredible shit. Obviously, Thomas Tipple's been on the show. I've been on there talking with him and Ryan Heath. Ryan Heath does a lot of good stuff. This one comes from Scott Barrett, right? Let me just put it out there. They got this new metric out there called average separation score. Okay. I love the fact that it's called ASS too, by the way.
Yeah, we got to work that down.
On comeback routes, Marv is 5th best in the league in separation score. Crossing routes, 5th best in the league. Post routes, 6th best in the league. Here's the problem. Those 3 routes make up 24.6% of his total routes.
Of his tree, if you will.
Marvin Harrison, 5th worst in go routes.
16.9 miles per hour.
Go routes. 5th worst in the entire league. That makes up 23.4%. So a little bit of a coaching scheme here. Marv is not very good at go routes, and yet they're using him on a quarter of them. And on the shit he's really good at, they only use him as a quarter of it. Like those, you should really flip them fucking numbers, right? Like you should be using him on like 60% of those 3 fucking routes, comebacks, crossers, and posts, and stop using them on go routes. So maybe that's a coaching thing. Maybe that gets fixed here in the next couple of weeks, and then in 3 weeks you and I are having this conversation about Marv being like, oh, well, you remember when we were kind of panicking on Marv? That was fun. Like, why were we doing that?
Yeah,
who knows?
I think how do I word this right? Well, one, for all those people, like I get a lot of concern. Like, you drink Red Bull at 10 o'clock. I don't know if you saw that big ass yawn. My ass will be fucking on a pillow, and when I can get to sleep, the Red Bull ain't keeping me up. But 2, I appreciate the concern. 2, I'm not actually that concerned about Marv. I think here's the reality. We were basically told, and I have no reason still at this point to truly say that Marv was not a complete prospect that was ready. I think what your point is a great one that is probably a little bit under talked about, but at the end of the day, a lot of it is in this sport. It's a team sport in which even the best of the best, which are not, the franchise quarterbacks that every team would sell their soul for. There's a lot of players that are just, even the great ones are here today, gone tomorrow. We will move you in a hurry and we will just figure it out. It's a team sport. Jamal Adams to me was one of the ones that was just, I'm not telling you he's one of the best players that's ever played the game, but he's had such a young career, and they moved him for 2 firsts like it was nothing. Everyone's like, what the hell's going on? And that's what the hell's going on. Like, that's the way that football works, right? The reason I say that is because there's the situation which he walks into. How are they going to use him? How are they going to deploy him? And then what was just assumed that Kyler was going to just absolutely throw the ball to only one player because he's been needing an alpha for so long. I'll just say not concerned, but oddly not. I would have expected his targets to look a lot closer to one of the Malik Neighbors type, where it's just like, hey, I got eyes for this guy right here, 18. Like, let me dial that in. The go route thing, I'm kind of curious if that corrects itself, because he's never been a long speed guy. Like, if you've watched him, he's never been a guy that's like, holy shit, he blows by everybody. I think he's not slow, but Mike, you know what's happening right now? You know what he had more than anything, and part of it's himself, part of it's his family, part of his name. This dude had a target on his back too. Like, you're gonna get the best shadow coverage. I don't know if that even exists anymore for the most part, but that every team has to offer. It's a slow start, and the reality is it's also, I think, a little bit down for people right now, because, to your point, the entire class is fucking getting rid of the bar as far as like production early. Yeah, we got that. So the fact that he's not in that, while Caleb, to your point, is also starting to get closer to production consistently, I'll be honest, I think it's probably dependent on the market. I would be interested in Marv in a lot of leagues, but I'm curious to see what people are, some stubborns are on with Marv.
Just a wild thing, like one of the better route running technicians coming out of college, even though he was a bigger body.
They'll get it fixed.
One of the better route running technicians, they're asking just to run a lot of go routes for no real purpose. Like,
well, you know why?
That's the kind of shit that you ask George Pickens to do.
Right? Yeah, that's Marvin Harrison Jr., George Pickens. Mike, you know why they're doing that, right? Why they're sending them on the go routes? You got to clear the middle of the field up for Michael Wilson. Come on, man, let's go.
Get cleared up for Michael.
Got to get Michael Wilson on them crossers, baby. Come on.
Just start sending fucking Michael Wilson a deep
Mike, tell me on the bingo card too. Michael Wilson, not killing, not smashing, but the target volume and the relevance he has.
Stupid. Yeah,
I would have been on the wrong side of that one. All right, quarterbacks. Last thing. Let's get out of here quickly. Yep. I know you probably. This might be a worse mistake for me than Dontavian Wicks, but we're gonna see if we can make this quick anyway. The only thing is, I have one thing working on my side. I know Mike has to pee because he's drunk. So
yes, for the last 12
minutes. He has to decide: fight Adam, piss. Fight Adam, piss my pants. All right, quarterbacks.
And Kennesaw State just upset fucking undefeated Liberty. So fuck you, Liberty.
Kennesaw State, baby. That's who I was gonna be until it's like I can't. I'm no chance I'm gonna play this game every week, let alone 1 week. Pretty awesome. Right, they just made the jump to D1.
They did.
Well,
they
from
just got the first win.
Let's go, Liberty. All right, quarterbacks. Let's talk about Warp for a second here. I think I have not actually looked at this in all the different leagues this week. I was kind of curious the last couple weeks, especially. We've talked about this. I think you've been talking about it a lot in the Discord too, where I think you'd be a fool not to expect quarterbacks scoring to come up some, because one, it's the offenses and defenses are going to yin and yang. They're going to always be studying and trying to get better and improve. And two, I think that they were off to such a bad start that plays part of it, but also they're going to get better, because one of the things that's never talked about and always comes to the front of mind every week one is like, these motherfuckers don't play preseason. These guys look out of sync. And I don't know. To me, I was watching, it felt like 3 out of 4 teams looked really out of sync the first, not just week, buddy, 2-3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks. So I think there was a positive regression coming to quarterback scoring in general. I think right now one of the things I was looking at least last week, I don't know what it is now, is that the type of scoring for the quarterback is something that I didn't really used to care as much personally. I still don't care a ton, but I think it's becoming more of a tiebreaker for me in a lot of these leagues. Like, you look at these 4-point per passing touchdown leagues where there's really no boost to the QB, and if there's any even mild minuscule boost to the other positions, you're like, damn, man, it's just the floor isn't there for them. But if you go to a 6-point per passing touchdown league and the other skill players don't get a lot, and you're looking at any type of passing yardage bone, I've seen kind of, I guess, Warp has been putting me on to, I'm still pretty much of the mindset like we talked about before. Unfortunately, one of the Konami codes I told you was going to have a job doesn't, but I'm shopping for that. A-Rich, I might be a little bit less optimistic on shopping for, but I still might. But, Mike, there's certain leagues, I think, still in 6-point passing touchdown, if the warp is telling me that there's guys that I don't necessarily love, but their warp is meaningful, I'm probably in a handful of exceptions going to be like seeing if I can get in on some of these quarterbacks that might be dirt cheap right now.
Yeah, I did a good video. We had a nice little series thanks to Dynasty Barry. If you're still in the chat, man, big shout out to you. 4-point passing touchdown, warp. Historically, like where's quarterback scoring come from? Long story short, you guys can go check out the video. It still fucking holds true.
Yeah, it's a good one. I remember it. Mm-hmm.
Konami code quarterbacks, Adam. You and I talked about it a little bit, and then I did one on 6-pointers. And here's the thing: it does boost up the Baker Mayfields of the world, the pocket passers a little bit, but your Konami code quarterbacks still become even more fucking elite in 6-point. Like
it's just more scoring for the quarterbacks.
But here's the big thing to your fucking point, especially with the way this year has started, and even in a 4-point passing touchdown, like warp wise for quarterbacks, they are starting to regress back to the mean a little bit. Every single week, they inch a little closer. That quarterback line gets a little bit higher, and the running back line and the wide receiver line comes down a little bit more. Yeah. Back to where we're getting a little bit closer to like quarterbacks fucking matter in Superflex leagues. Like they can win you leagues. I mean, in the early part of the season, it was running backs. Whoa. Here's the thing, though: in your 6-point leagues, your 6-point passing touchdown leagues, even with the bad quarterback start, those motherfuckers were killing it still. Even with running backs. But to your point, Adam, too, like scoring settings, this is why I love warp, because if you get into just a vanilla league with 4-point passing touchdowns, quarterbacks are going to look like, they weren't that good. Like, you guys are nuts. Why are you guys always preaching quarterbacks? Mm-hmm. And then to your point, too, as well, like you start to get into a little bit more of a tight end premium, or you get into a 0.25 point per carry. You get into big play bonuses or first down bonuses for running backs and wide receivers. It buries quarterbacks even more. And you and I do know this too, because we're in a couple of these best ball leagues where it's like start 16 or some shit. Like the more starters you have, the more devalued these motherfuckers become, and the warp line becomes shit. But
right.
To your point, right, I think one of the first things, even if, everybody should be utilizing the warp tool, during a startup, you should be utilizing it right now. This is the fucking perfect time to find available players and try to make these contender pushes on what's going. But you should be, at least at the very least, if you're not going to do that, looking to see what the quarterback scoring is for passing touchdowns, right? You can fade them a little bit more if they're in fucking 4-pointers. But if they're in 6-pointers, if you're fading quarterbacks at all, I don't know how to help you. Like you're just being a bully. Like you're refusing to adapt to what the actual is, because 6-point passing touchdowns will fucking change your world. Right? A lot of these quarterbacks may go out and only throw for 200 yards, but goddamn, they throw 3 touchdown passes, and it's like, look at that, 30 points. Eat a dick. 30 fucking points. Good luck to your running back has to have a Saquon Barkley level like monster revenge game type game against the New York fucking Giants in New York to hit 30 points.
I'll tell you one thing that will never get old. One day when our warp hopefully continues to go up, if that is a thing, we're gonna have to get like a really good editor, someone that can just really get snips, because you could have like a section there. Mike could give you actually like a 80-second, 90-second rant there, where it's like well worded, killed it, and then just tell you right and eat a dick, just right to fucking just to let you know.
I gotta bring it back.
Yeah, I like that. That's one thing that will never get old to me, because it's. You felt too. No. This isn't good enough. Let me bury these guys. Hey guys, new here. Hold on. I got a couple questions that I was gonna try to get to some of these, but I see. Hey guys, new here. Just subscribe. I was wondering your rate on my post Aiyuk, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Jayden Daniels, Chris Godwin injuries. Well, I got a team or so that looks a lot like this, unfortunately.
Poor Cole.
Well, Cole, I don't know the settings. I don't know a lot of the stuff we were just talking about with Warp, where, like, how many starters do you have? Let's call it what it is. I don't care if you have 12 starters, 9 starters. This is So this is a hefty bill. This is a they came to get you, buddy. The fine is Marshawn Lynch. You should have went to fucking you should have went there so you didn't get fined, because this is a there's very few teams in Dynasty, Mike, I think, that can really overcome a situation like this, if we're being honest.
It's a very, very, very fucking few.
Aiyuk wasn't even playing well, but you had Godwin and Evans right now. One of the things I had them on. I loved, Mike, the fact that they got taken from me in the same day is like the cruelness. I was getting told it was like, Mike, it's like I had twins. All right, I was getting told I got to split the pair. Like, no, leave me alone. I want both, because every single week, you know what's happening? All right, fine. Godwin didn't have a good game. Well, fuck you, Evans. He was getting ready to do it again. He had a touchdown, 25 yards, the first catch. Gets hurt. All right, well, I saw him get hurt. You know what? I've seen Evans play through some hamstring injuries. I'm like, all right, let's be cool. Let's be calm. Let's be reasonable. You know, he'll be back in a couple weeks. Maybe he'll be Aaron Jones like, and then just you can't. There's just no. You don't even have words. Did a few trades. Let me know what you think. Cole, I'll tell you what, buddy. Drop them in here, or if you want to, save them for next AMA. Maybe we'll get you, because I know Mike's gonna urinate himself, especially after he told you to eat a dick. Now, what I will say too, whether you're new or not, we appreciate you being here today. As Fizz would say, we appreciate everybody tapping in for AMA. Mike, this Sunday we have the recap show. We have a lot of shows ahead of time that we should have you checking out, but the recap show is going to be a fun one. We're going to have the whole South Harmon team. I was thinking about it. Outside of the draft, we really don't – I shouldn't say the entire, but a lot of the crew, right? We have a lot of the guys that do some former content for us going to be a part of it. So outside of the draft, we normally don't have a spot while we all do content and we can do content with each other that we get to do something –
together.
Everybody. So it's going to be a – Mike and I normally have a hard time staying on time with just the two of us. So it's going to be a fun we're going to see how – it's going to be fun to see if we can get this thing.
There's no fucking chance, man. I'm fully planning on just pulling up the game, too.
Yeah.
On this monitor.
Yeah.
And then –
well, yeah, you should. The one thing, though, as I remembered about last year, is that every time we were trying to figure out what to do, like, I had no control over what happened. So regardless, you should come check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And – one thing I also want to say is if you do come check it out, whether you're new or not, we are going to have a spooky or scary good opportunity for the viewers to get into something, a warp discount, buddy. I'm putting that out for the recap. Go ahead.
I keep it 100 here.
Mm-hmm.
I keep it 100 here, you know, keep it on a fucking level with the energy that I brought tonight. In all reality, this is a perfect week to do it because it's fucking Cowboys 49ers, and who gives a shit about those two trash can fucking franchises anyways. So Sunday night, tune into the fucking Halloween recap instead of watching an injured fucking team and dog shit fucking overhyped for the last, 30 fucking years. Trash franchise that I never win in shit. Eat a dick, Dallas.
I'll be honest with you, man. Jerry needs to get out of his own way. Whether it's give the team up to the kid, like you ain't a GM, brother. I'm sorry, like you cave. You someone needs to tell him that you fold every chance you have a chance to fold. But yeah, I don't know. That's one of those matchups too. Niners, Cowboys. It's like everybody gets told this is the greatest, NFL franchises playing. You got to watch this one. Mm-hmm. I hate I've always hated watching that damn game. Every time, even when it was good back in the 90s, when I'm a kid watching fucking Young, and no, I don't want to watch this game. Fuck that,
Sorry, Fizz. Still love you.
I'll have it on the side of the screen here, but I'm not gonna have much time to watch the first half of it. Make sure you're checking that out. The recap show is gonna be a blast. Honestly, you should check it out every week, but this week especially, we're gonna have everybody there. I'll tell you this: if you come, don't be surprised when it gets completely off the rails. Because if this Halloween teaser is anything for you, I got it. Mike, I'm telling you right now, I don't want to put. You don't want to oversell and then underdeliver. It's gonna be fun. Trust me on this one.
All right.
It's gonna be a blast. We'll see you back here for AMA Wednesday. Make sure you're tapping in.
Diaper.
That too. Make sure you're tapping into all the stuff we got going on the rest of the week here. Fizzle Friday. We got stuff all day Saturday. Man, we're like like a shitty network, you know? It's pretty fun, you know? It's
We're the 7-Eleven of fantasy football.
Damn.
We always open.
Convenience. Whenever you need us, we're here. 7-Eleven. We love you. See you back here next week. Peace.
See ya.
You shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead.
Yeah.
Hello, Michael.
Hi.
This is your wake-up call.
What's going to happen?
I'm afraid that was a wrong answer.
Oh, shit.
What's happening to my face?
Hey, yo!
Burning me?
Your soul is mine.
Bye-bye. You know what's
We
great?
still back.
You know what's great is last time I killed the stream, and this time I meant to kill the stream and did not. So, love you.